want you to just relax for a little bit and just be grateful that we're here today, and just thanking God that made this day happen. Some people went to sleep last night, didn't wake up, but we are among the people that are awake. So can we do a little this? So we're just excited to be alive this morning. We're excited to be here. Yes, yes, yes. So, for ye shall go out with joy, and you will be led forth with peace. The mountains and the hills shall break forth before you into singing, and all the trees of the field shall clap their hands. Doesn't that sound amazing? The trees will clap their hands for you. The mountains, even the mountains, celebrate you. Mountains and trees we're going to celebrate you. Now, if they can celebrate you, can't you celebrate yourself? I want you to celebrate yourself right now. Celebrate yourself, celebrate yourself. We are here to celebrate you. Today is about celebrating you. Can you put in the chat right now? Celebrate me in the chat. I want to see the chat blow up right now. Celebrate me in the chat. Today is all about you. Why? Because you are worthy. You are enough. You are beautiful. You are fearfully and wonderfully made. You don't need anyone to celebrate you. And if they celebrate you, that's great. But today you celebrate yourself, and you're going to make a habit of celebrating yourself. All right. So once again, did I hear that? McKenna, I didn't hear the applaud here. Let's applaud for ourselves. Let's applaud for ourselves. Let's celebrate ourselves this morning as we get ready for this session. Now, you could have been anywhere this morning. You could have slept in, you could have went for brunch, but you decided to be here today to invest in your self-care journey, to invest in time to learn more. Not to say you know everything. Some of you are probably already practicing self-care, but you want to know more. You want to see if there's other things out there that you could implement into your day. So we thank you so much for taking the time out today to be around like-minded women and men that are here today to enjoy this self-care summit. We pray that you are blessed today. We pray that you leave here encouraged, enlightened, educated, and on fire, and ready to celebrate yourself, not just today, but every day. And let me just tell you a quick story of how I came up with Celebrate Yourself. All right. So if everybody can be on mute, that would be great. I don't know if the co-host has ability to mute everybody. My love language is words of affirmation. Anybody else have a love language of words of affirmation? Can I just see a shake? All right. So my love language, now I'm in a hotel right now. I don't understand why someone's banging at the door. I don't know if it's the housekeeping, but we're going to ignore that. Okay. So I'm words of affirmation. And, people like to be celebrated in different ways. Some people like gifts, right? Some people like acts of service. Some people like, to go shopping, to go out to eat. I'm just making up all kinds of ones, right? But people do celebrate me. But there was times where I just felt like I wasn't being celebrated. And one time I just heard a voice. The Spirit said to me, celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself. Why are you waiting for someone to celebrate you? Okay. I was like, wow. And then I began to tell myself affirmations, positive affirmations, because I'm a words person. And don't get me wrong, my husband likes to buy me bags, takes me places and all that. But that affirmation that I was receiving, that I wanted, everybody doesn't know always how to give it, right? So I began to celebrate myself. I began to write down affirmations. I began to speak them over my life. And that's how I began to celebrate myself. I began to tell myself when I have a long day and when I'm doing something, I'm going through a lot, and I said, you did a great job today. Right? You did a great job today. I begin to tell myself, you don't have to be perfect, but you're enough. So those are the kind of things I started to celebrate myself. I started to let go of perfectionism. It's very difficult because I was born into perfectionism, I want to say, but I began to let go of those. I began to understand that I don't have to be perfect. All right. I put my best foot forward and I let God do the rest. And that is how I began to celebrate myself. So today I want to encourage you to speak positive to yourself, to speak affirmations to yourself, to silence those negative voices when you hear them, and just tell yourself that you are worthy to be celebrated. You are enough. You are beautiful. You're wonderfully and fearfully made. You can do all things. And when you begin to say those positive things into your mind, you begin to silence those negative voices. So that's how we celebrate ourselves. So is everybody ready? That was just an opening. We're going to do a quick icebreaker. And I really hope that everybody else can get on. I hope the technical difficulties is done. But since we have 18 people on here, I just want us to just kind of put in the chat. And then I'm just going to call a couple people to just kind of tell me something that you're celebrating this week. Remember, you don't need a reason to celebrate. All right. It doesn't have to be a birthday. It doesn't have to be an anniversary. It doesn't have to be a special occasion. You can celebrate whenever you feel like it. All right. You can celebrate whenever you feel like it. So put it in the chat. I want to see, put in the chat, what are we celebrating today? Let's blow up this chat. What are we celebrating today? Yes, somebody said life. Celebrating life. We're always celebrating life. Let's go. Let's go. What are we celebrating today? Health. Yes. Good health and peace. Yes. Ready to run New York City Marathon. Woo! In 7 days. Yes, yes, yes. All right. Celebrating my health and family and chance to grow. Yes, yes, yes. Setting boundaries and sticking with them. Woo, woo, woo. I love the sound of that. Yes. What else are we celebrating today? What are we celebrating today? Yes. Celebrating healing. Thank you, Lord. Celebrating healing. Yes, yes, yes. What else are we celebrating today? Oh, yes. Thank you to everyone that's putting this. Celebrating my daughter speaking today at high school Model UN conference. Oh, congratulations, Dr. Hope. And thank you for taking the time to be here today. In spite of that, we appreciate you. And she's going to speak well. Amen. Celebrating forgiveness. Ooh, that sounds sweet. You know, when you forgive, you set yourself free. So we're celebrating forgiveness. Oh, it's awesome, awesome. All right. What else are we celebrating? Did we miss anybody? Does anybody feel like sharing something they want to celebrate today in this little icebreaker? We have 5 minutes. You can use the raise hand button on your screen if anybody wants to share. Oh, my husband says celebrating my wifey. Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you, honey. Celebrating strength from God. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. All right. And I can't see if anybody raises their hand. Feel free to raise your hand in this section. We have 5 minutes. If you want to just come on and you want to say something that you're celebrating, if you just want to say it and not put it in the chat, feel free to come on and do that as well. But like I said, McKenna said today is we have 5 or more wonderful raffles. You definitely don't want to miss it. We're going to be raffling during each section and at the end. We have a special reveal at the end, so you definitely don't want to miss that as well. All right. Who's excited? I'm excited. Yes. And if you need to go to the restroom, please do not hold yourself hostage. Go to the restroom, make yourself tea, make yourself coffee, grab some snacks, and let's get to this party. Today, we're just going to be free. All right. We're breaking free of perfectionism. Somebody type break free. Break free of perfectionism. The technical was already off today. So, hey, we are breaking free of perfectionism. We are being ourselves. All right. We're going to have some slideshows. We're going to have some presentations, and that's all right. But we're going to be ourselves because we're here to celebrate. Look, you celebrate everybody else, right? Celebrate your children, your husbands, your wives, your co-workers, all the invitations you get for baby showers and birthday parties and all that. We're always celebrating others. How many times do you celebrate yourself? How many times? Celebrate yourself. That's the theme of today's message, of Summit, sorry. You can tell I'm a church girl. Accidentally said message. All right, so we are going to be getting started, and it says the next message, the next person is the next session is our time management, starts in 4 minutes, and I really hope we can just go straight into it. I think that when people join the lobby, they can see the session and just join. I guess that's an opportunity to like go to the bathroom and stuff between each session. I guess if we have to like come out and come in. So for any reason that we have to come out and come in, please do. This is Zoom events for you. They have sessions, you join. But because it's giving me a notification here that something starts in 3 minutes. Is anybody else getting that notification? Okay, so I don't know if we have to like go to that or we stay here. I hope people are not in that session and not in here. Monique said, break free from perfectionism. Yes, 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 yes. All right. So I want to ask you a question while we're waiting. Why do we feel guilty celebrating ourselves sometimes? Does anybody feel guilty sometimes? Sometimes take yourself out to eat. Do you feel guilty just by yourself? Table for one. They look at you and they're like, are you here by yourself? Yes, I'm here celebrating myself. Just table for one. Does anybody ever feel guilty doing that? Nobody? Someone said I was taught to take care of everyone else first. Yes. And you know what? It's not a mistake. It's by design. We're, as women, I'm speaking to women because there's a lot of women on here. To the men, thank you for your support. But as women, we were created to be nurturers, to be helpmates. So we're always nurturing others. We're always helping others. We're always there for others. And at times, because of that, we fall back and we don't use that same energy to celebrate ourselves. When you celebrate yourself, I'm just going to read some chats. When you celebrate yourself, you are able to show up better for other people, for your people. Yes. When you celebrate yourself, how many people have heard your cup has to be full or something like that? Give me a shake and give me a thumbs up. Have you heard your cup has to be full? Your cup needs to be over full. See, if your cup is just full, you just have enough for yourself. But when your cup, when you're, see, anyone ever heard your cup runneth over? Anyone ever heard the cup run over? Because your cup's supposed to run over. When it runs over, then you have enough for other people. That's my little take on it. So when we're always focusing on just the cup being full, that cup being full is for everybody else because we're meant to be nurturers. So our cup is full, we do everything we're supposed to do, and we're pooped. But if our cup runneth over, then we have enough to take care of ourselves. It's not just a little mindset change. All right, so it's 10:30. I am super, super excited. Like I said, I don't know if I need to just stay on here. I think I just want to stay on here. I don't know if anybody's in the lobby because the session we're in is the opening session. I don't know if we have to go out. All right. I'm not sure I like this Zoom. It's okay.
There's a lot of traveling today.
I was like, I'd rather just stay in one place. Hi, Lisa. Okay, so I think what happens is people join in at different times. So they need to be able to see what session is going on. I thought it would just merge everything together, but it doesn't. All right. Can everybody see me? Can everybody hear me? All right. All right. So hopefully everybody's coming over to this session. Once again, thank you for your patience. McKenna has all the names of people that registered, and she's putting the names in the raffle. So right after this section, we're going to do a raffle. So stay tuned. But without further ado, I want to introduce our next speaker, very, very dear to me. She got me through my doctoral program. She's an awesome lady that practices what she talks about. She's a superwoman to me. And she's, like she said, she's getting ready for this marathon. She's the senior director of IT at Honeywell, and she's a senior doctoral adjunct and doctoral chair at GCU. And she has a lot of wonderful things that she does. So I want to welcome to the stage, if everybody can just give me a lovely welcome for Dr. Rachel Baleen. And I'm going to let her take the floor while I go back to, you hear that?
That's nice. That's nice.
All right. So let me get out of here and I'm going to get the floor. McKenna, do you have her slideshow ready to go?
Yes, I do.
All right.
Thank you, McKenna. And thank you, Dr. Tooby. Can everybody hear me okay? Fantastic. Well, it's kind of, she gave me the perfect intro as far as celebrate yourself. So my topic is going to take what Dr. Tooby was just talking about, was celebrating yourself and putting a tactical twist to it. So I here in IT, I run global teams. So it's 24/7, 365 from everywhere from Bangalore to Mexico to Vienna, back home to Arizona. So it is a big challenge to figure out what is that balance with being able to celebrate yourself, but also same time, being able to really take care of self-care. How do you fit it all in? And I think there was a lot of wonderful chats in there about we are programmed at some point to be caregivers, whether it's our teams where we work, whether it's our community, whether it's our immediate family. So I want to share with you 3 tactical ways that you can achieve your self-care goals through exceptional time management. So come with me on that journey. We're going to spend about the next 15, 20 minutes, and we're just going to walk through what this could look like in your day starting today. Because I will tell you that without realistic patterns and purposefulness in your life, all those self-care goals will just be the things that you do when you don't have something that you need to do for others. So let's talk about tactical way number 1. First and foremost, even before you start scheduling those goals, you need to make a decision. What do you want to do? What is that self-care goal or accomplishment that you want to achieve? So let's say, for instance, I had knee surgery 2 months ago, just totally random, totally not true. No, just kidding. And I have a marathon coming up next week. My goal was to get physical therapy and training, actually running. But I have a very, very busy calendar. So my advice here, and part of this tactical focus on self-care, is you have to schedule it. You have to actually put it on your calendar. So if you have something that you want to start doing, some self-care routine or something that you want to do to truly celebrate yourself. And to me, it's running. I take care of myself by running in the morning. But what you've got to make sure that you do is that it's on your calendar. Put it at a time that you know that it can actually happen. So let's say maybe you had a goal of swimming 3 days a week after work. If you don't actually put it on your calendar, so it's maybe you use your phone technology, or maybe you have a handwritten calendar and you actually have your calendar at work. So schedule that time. Like if you're going to swim for an hour after work, literally make a calendar invite for yourself. The second piece is make it reoccurring. Don't wait until noon on that same day to figure out if you're going to go swimming after work or not. Put it on your calendar. And then the third piece, and this is getting super tactical, it's okay. So if you're actually going to go to the gym and go swimming 3 days a week after work, that means you need to pack your swimming suit. You need to pack your gym bag. You need to take it to work if you're someone that's working from an office setting. You need to have your gym membership. You need to figure out how, if you're going to drive there, if you're going to go with a friend or a husband or a spouse. So just those details, they need to be figured out and get it on your calendar. And then last but not least, making sure that you schedule it at a time that you're setting yourself up for success. So let's say you schedule to go to the gym every 3 days after work, but you pick Monday, Wednesday, Friday. But honestly, you know that there is most likely big projects that you need to kick off on Mondays, and it's really not a good time. So I would say before you even schedule your goals, just make sure that it is the time that fits with your own personal energy rhythm and what is kind of real life in your calendar. All right, so now let's say you've scheduled that goal. It's on your calendar, it's in your phone. You've let everyone around you know that would be impacted by this commitment, and you've got it all scheduled. You are setting yourself up for success. All right, so let's go to tip number 2. So tip number 2, and this is the big one that I think sometimes we don't do, is schedule a reflection time at the end of every week. We need time to pause our brains and do that self-evaluation or that audit of how well did we do compared to what we promised that we were going to do. Because this is your chance to kind of sit back before you start scheduling for the next week. And this is what I call the magic of Friday afternoons, is that Friday afternoon, you just kind of take a self-evaluation and go, Rachel, you were gonna go swimming 3 days a week. Did I or didn't I? Okay, if I didn't, why didn't I? Did I forget to pack my gym bag? Did I have drama at work? Did my family have an emergency? Did something else get in the way? And what was that? So this is your opportunity to really step back and say, how can I adjust it for next time? Was the day wrong? Was the time wrong? Was the duration wrong? Did I not schedule in drive time and so forth? And then last but not least, was my heart not into it, right? Was I literally so ungritty that I just knew that honestly, I wasn't really gonna swim 3 days last week? So that is part of that self-assessment as well, is being able to step back and go, is that really what I want to do? Maybe a spin class would be better, or maybe I should go running instead, because I picked swimming, but it's not giving me the self-care that I thought it was going to give me. It didn't give me that freedom just to be out of the house, out of my own head, and doing something good for my health. Maybe there's something else that I should have committed to. So it lets you just do that pause point. Because if you go week after week and you don't do that self-reflection, you get to the end of the month and then you ask yourself, wow, I was gonna start that swimming routine this month. And then we start getting inside of our heads and, I'm not good enough. I'm not enough. I don't have enough resolution. I'm not a good enough planner. And we start getting in our heads about why we weren't able to accomplish that goal. And we don't want that. We don't want that negative self-talk. We want to build things that continue to give us that wonderful work-life integration. All right. This also gives you an opportunity, as I was just mentioning, to think about those mental issues, right? What is that self-talk? Did you go swimming once and you didn't feel like it was smooth enough? You weren't fast enough. Maybe you forgot your hat or your goggles or whatever that might be. And you just kind of felt like, man, I didn't do it really good the first time I went to the gym and went swimming. So maybe I'm going to skip tonight because I didn't want to feel bad about myself again. So this is that chance to really get out of your head and go, nope, 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 nope. I'm grittier than that. This is something that I committed to myself to take better care of my health, and then get right back out there. All right, now let's go on to the third one. So this third piece, this is the one to me is the deal breaker. So tactical tip number 3 is being prepared to say no. And I literally just heard this FOLOPD, fear of letting other people down. I always thought it was fear of missing out, but I am a victim of this. I don't want to let people down. And so I think sometimes when we set up our schedule for the next week, if we don't schedule it, if we don't commit to it, and if we're not prepared to say no to somebody else, then we will skip that commitment to ourselves because we want somebody else to be happier. Oh, I can go running another time. Somebody needs me to go do this for them, or I really should do this for somebody else. So I am encouraging each and every one of you to decline those meetings, decline those other commitments of other people. If this is truly something that is going to help you to take better care of yourself, prioritize yourself. As Dr. Tubi was mentioning, you deserve this. You are good enough. And so I'll give you an example. Every Friday, I run before I go to work, anywhere between 15 to 20 miles, depending on where I am in my marathon cycle. And I literally schedule it on my work calendar and I block it as out of office. And I'm a global leader. So that means I've got teams that want to end their weekend. I've got other teams that want to start their weekend, and they're dropping meetings on my calendar at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m. on a Friday. Any other day of the week, I'm okay. I am there for you. But if someone tries to drop a meeting during that 3-hour, 2 to 3 hour block, I will politely come back and say, you know what? That's the time that I put in my training for my marathon, and that's really important to me. But I see that you and I have 2 other spots available on Friday or even Thursday afternoon. Which one of those would work better for you? Because I'm not available at that time on a Friday. And when I start doing that, at first people were like, oh, that's weird behavior. I've never heard a senior director say no to a meeting that was a very important topic. But when I take care of myself, and I think someone mentioned it in the chat when we were all coming together, when I take care of myself and I prioritize those things that really make me feel like I'm doing the right thing, that I show up better for everybody else around me. And so as we wrap up this time here together, those are the messages that I wanted to send. Is when you start building your brand, yes, I am here to be a servant leader. I am here to support those around me. But what I found is and I don't have a lot of things there. I don't have 15 things that I list out or that I put on my calendar, but I'll bet you there's 6, and running is one of them. I schedule it at a time that I know that I can do it. I let myself be gritty, but I also stand up for that time. There's very few things that will trump that morning run. If my daughter were to say, hey mom, I've got an emergency, or I need you to take me to surgery. I mean, there's certain things, of course, that are going to trump it. But I would say it is really, really important. And when you start prioritizing yourself, other people will start finding more value in you. You mark my words. When you start saying, I'm sorry, I can't attend the meeting at that time, my physical health is connected very closely to my mental well-being. When I run, when I exercise, when I'm out in that fresh air, I can let everything go. I can let my worries go. I can let my brain start thinking about things that are bothering me, things that I need to work through, mental things that I tell myself. But I need that time in order to show up as my best self. And I know when I do that, I come back from that morning run and I have a better approach. I have a better mindset. And I also can tell myself the rest of my day is for others, because I already did the things that help me remind myself that I've prioritized myself, my mental health, my physical well-being. And it brings me back to work when I sit down at my desk and I put my headsets on. I am bringing a better product to everybody around me. And I just want to tie it up by saying, these are just one of those tactical things. Dr. Tooby talked about celebrate yourself, decide what that is, and really put it into action. Because if it's something that you really kind of don't do in the past, but you know that it's the right thing to do, it's going to take a certain level of grit. And the best way to be gritty, to make it into a pattern. So with that, I want to invite everybody that's on the call today, think about what are those gritty patterns that are going to help you and are going to bring it home. My patterns are going to be different than your patterns. My energy cycle is going to be different than yours. But I want to invite you to just truly do that assessment. One, set your goals. Make sure you commit, right? Nobody's in your head but you. So commit to your goals. Number two, schedule it. And number three, figure out realistically that fear of letting other people down. You should be the top of your list. You should be the first person other than God that you don't want to let down. And then live every day that way. So with that, I want to turn it back over to Dr. Tooby, and thank you for this opportunity to share.
Thank you so much, Dr. Baleen. How many of you guys were just blessed by that topic? Can we clap for her? We might not hear you, but let's see. Let's throw some applause in that chat. Throw some emojis. You know, we got to show some love in here. All right, McKenna, I thought there was some applauding going on here. McKenna, you need to unmute yourself. All right, so next up, we have a very special lady. I don't know how she does it all. She is a mother to 4 children. She is, and I'm probably going to say her title wrong. She's like the senior director or something like that at Phoenix Children's Hospital. She'll correct it when she gets on there. And she is in the choir, is a youth leader, found some time to write a book. She's amazing. I want to welcome to the stage Dr. Precious Alino. Can we give her a hand clap? Welcome to the stage. All right, I'm going to get out of here.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tooby. Everybody can hear me okay, right? I am so excited to be here today, and thank you so much, Dr. Baleen. I picked up a few nuggets from that session. Thank you for sharing. It's been an exciting morning, and I really appreciate everybody sticking around. And we're going to be moving it a little bit now towards the love part of every other thing that we're talking about. I just wanted to bring the aspect of love into all of celebrating ourselves. Can I see some love emojis there going up? Everybody, some love emojis, because really, really love is at the heart of what we do when it comes to self-care. And I'm going to attempt to share my screen here in a minute. Bring up. It's giving me a message that if I share my screen, it will stop with other computer sound share. I'm still gonna do it. Let's see what it does. Okay, everybody can see my screen, okay? All right, so I'm going to look at one thing that I wrote in my book in chapter 3 of Leading Me, Becoming My Life CEO. It was just a book I wrote in 2021. And I talk about love the person in the mirror. And I try to adapt some of the discussions there in that book to what we're going to be talking about today. And I really, really wanted to start this with a very important quote to me that I have in that book. It says, your most indispensable asset is you. Love you, value you, believe you, challenge you, and encourage you. But whatever you do, don't liquidate you, right? So we know what liquidation does to a company, but outside of that formal definition of liquidation, when we think about the fact that it is really ending us and not progressing us in a really positive direction. So think about yourself as the most indispensable asset you have. Nothing else happens, nothing else goes on without you. That's why when you're in an airplane, they will say, you know what, have the oxygen for yourself first. Put your oxygen mask first before you can help another person. You are important. You are the most indispensable asset. You have to love you. You have to value you. And it is okay to challenge you and encourage you all the time. So that's something to keep in mind as we go through. The biggest aspect, like I talked about, what we're talking about today is that love is the central core. So it brings us to what that chapter says. It says, love the person in the mirror. Who do you see in the mirror? When you wake up every day, when you go to the mirror. Yesterday, I was talking to a colleague of mine, and when we were chatting, you know, she was talking to me about like what her face looks like. I'm looking at the most beautifully glowing face ever that I have ever seen. However, she's seeing something else. And that brings me to what actually inspired that chapter was a young lady that I met in pharmacy school. I am going to pause and say I'm a pharmacist by profession. You probably know that. And I work at Phoenix Children's. I'm a director for clinical pharmacy, education, and research. So I get really, really busy. So it's important for me, in addition to everything that I do, that I love myself, that I show myself love. And I do not look back. If I see something, if I want something, and I know I can afford it, and I know it's going to make me happy, I would do it for myself. I started taking care of myself. I even put myself on the list. And this is something that I learned. You know, we don't really usually start like this, but as the years go by, you do all those things. Yeah, birthday gifts, people give me gifts, my husband give me gifts, my kids give me gifts, but I buy a gift for myself. Do you all know that? I buy myself a really wonderful gift and keep it in case I don't get what I like. And I'm like, I'm happy. I treated myself. So I buy myself my own gift and keep it. I said, this is your own gift. And because I am important and I just really want to love that person in the mirror. And so today we're going to just really talk about 3 aspects of loving that person in the mirror. Right? Resisting the urge to compare yourself to others, self-care for the right reason, and recognizing your personal endowments. Those are the 3 elements that will help us to love the person in the mirror. Now, that person in the mirror that you see deserves unreserved love. If your mirror is telling you and showing you something else, you need to go buy another mirror because that mirror should be showing you a powerful, beautiful, wonderfully created, and exceptionally made and decorated by God. The problem we have with the mirror, the problem we have as women is that we concentrate on the physical structure. We concentrate on what we see, and that's what we're comparing to others. We're just looking at a physical shell, but that you're supposed to be looking at in the mirror should be a totality of that individual person, which is your wholeheartedness, everything within that is so special that God put together in that structure. I'm gonna just divert a little bit and share this. We once where I used to work before, we were trying to renovate one of the hospitals, and the budget was $60 million. But most of that money went into the shell. You know, they redid the lobby and everything. And when people drive by, they are like, man, this hospital is rebuilt and all of that. Some of us that are internal knew that that money went into the shell, because most people know it takes hundreds and hundreds, millions of dollars to build a hospital. But can you imagine? And that reminded me of the kind of attention we pay to our life these days is really only about the shell. We're only worried about this shell, and we are not recognizing the totality of the image that God created and handed to you, because that person's tummy may be flatter than yours. The grace in your life might be more elevated. There's so much in you that is beyond, that is much more than a flat tummy. Just something to recognize about yourself. Go back today, think about the total you. And it's so wonderful if you have a flat tummy, but if you don't, and so what? You know, there's just so many things to think about your personal structure and appreciate it from a place of gratitude. Self-care should be for the right reasons. This is one of the things I started thinking about as I imagined why we fail in some of the goals we set for ourselves regarding just maybe going to the gym, making sure that we look great, making sure that we are sustaining ourselves, making sure that we are energizing ourselves. Sometimes it's just because it's either we want to please people or we just want to physically look wonderful, look appealing, fit in some of us, we just go and buy a size 6 dress when we know that we can't fit there. And then we keep challenging ourselves. Oh, I'm just doing this right now because I need to fit in that dress. Or I have a party coming on and I need to look great. Self-care should be for the right reasons. Do you have a big enough reason? And I personally think that there is no bigger and greater reason to take care of yourself than the fact that you love yourself. Oftentimes, as mothers, as women, we take care of everybody. We take care of our children. We go above and beyond for them out of love. Out of love. We give them the best things we have. If you have just one meal left in your house, and let's say something happened, you can't afford anything else, it's just one meal and you have a little kid, I know that 99.9% of the women here will give it to that kid to eat. It is called love. It is out of love. It is just unreserved love. That's how you have to think about yourself in terms of the reason why you want to do your self-care. When you think about your happiness, when you know the fact that it is in your hands. It is in your hands to make yourself happy. It is in your hands to love yourself. We're expecting love from everybody else, from the world, from our husbands, from our children. And you can't even give yourself enough love. That is unrealistic expectation, in my opinion. And that is hypocrisy magnified. Let's start today. When we go back, look at our, and I know some of us are trying our best and doing it in the way we do and how we can, but let's elevate that love for self. That should be the biggest reason why we do the whole mind and body wellness, why you want to keep the mind happy, why you want to keep the body well. Self-care should be a demonstration of self-love. Remember how I started, and then I talked about you as that most indispensable asset. Let's go back and think about how we treat that asset that is you. You have to recognize and acknowledge you. Take a mental picture of yourself from head to toe. Recognize every single thing, every wonderful aspect of you that God has put in there. Every single gift that God has given you. Every single challenge you have passed and crossed in your life. Every single hurdle you have crossed. Every single achievement you have made. even when it is so hard, even when it was difficult to achieve it, but you went through it. Think about yourself in that perspective. Recognize and acknowledge every single day. I never really did a lot of affirmations in the past, or words of affirmations, but it's something I started doing. And oh my goodness, I just love it. I started really seeing how wonderful it is. And I started seeing how I will go out, in peace, and just come back with joy, because I start my day reminding myself, recognizing every single thing that God has put in me, every single thing that the grace of God in my life, and everything I have achieved by the grace of God, and the life that I have, starting from there, because some people are not here today. So I recognize and I acknowledge those, and it takes me to a place of gratitude. Because when we are at a place of gratitude, it is hard to see the things that are not going well. It is hard to see the ones that are not working. It is hard to see all those smaller things that we've been waiting to happen. We've been trying to suspend our love for ourselves, our appreciation for ourselves, our happiness, waiting for when this happens, that happens. The little experience I've had in the 40-something years of my life have taught me that I should celebrate every moment. I should love myself at every moment, irrespective. I shouldn't reserve that love for later, because I don't have that tomorrow in my hand. I don't have what would happen the next day in my hand. Today, I am good. I am looking wonderful. Everything is intact. My organs are intact. I see my eyes. I see my toes. I feel my fingers. I just love, appreciate, and express those gratitude. And then pamper yourself. Unapologetic self-care. Pamper yourself. In the beginning, when we started, Dr. Tubi was talking about, like, do we feel guilty when we do some of these things for ourselves? I used to, maybe in the past, feel guilty. Oh my goodness, somebody needs this, somebody needs that. I should have been using this to help one or two people. We come from a very needy country. Most of our relatives and people in Nigeria, like, people are suffering in Africa. So oftentimes we're only thinking about how to help people, and we're doing it, but we're not pampering ourselves. So now I don't apologize for pampering myself. My massage is scheduled. Every single month I have to go. I was not doing that before, but now I have to go. I have to take the time that I need to pamper this body that deserves it. And then renew and restore every single thing that you've given out. Even though we are pampering ourselves, the world still expects a lot from us. We give, and then we come back, we renew, and we start all over again. Without that, it would be hard to keep giving. In the beginning, Dr. Tibi talked about the cup. Your cup has to run over. Renewal is how we can keep that cup going. One of the things that I noticed as I transitioned to this slide, one of the things that I noticed in life, why we are not happy sometimes with certain standards or with ourselves, is usually based on comparisons. Things would not be worse or better except they are compared. Only when they are compared. You see somebody that is so happy, excited about herself, until she sees somebody else that looks greater, or this person is like this, or that condition could have been better. That's the only time that we feel worse or better about ourselves. Resist the urge to compare yourself to anybody. You are neither worse nor better. In my book, I have a quote that I really like a lot. It says, resist the urge to compare yourself to anyone. You are neither worse nor better. You are your yardstick. All you have to do is make yourself better. Nobody is better than you. Nobody is worse than you. Right? When we compare ourselves to others, it's just like we're comparing oranges to apples and all of that. And that's so unfair, because our circumstances are different. We might be the same age. We may have gone to the same school. We may attend the same church. We may have gotten married at the same time. Our circumstances are different. Our experiences in life, the things we go through, are different. So please, it is not self-care when we compare ourselves to other people. We are our unique self. Give yourself some credit. Can somebody I just want like some clap of hands. Give yourself some credit. Look at yourself from head to toe right now. Give yourself some credit and say, God, I just love you. You know, if you believe in God, or, you know, I just love you because you made me fearfully and wonderfully. And I acknowledge myself because I am great. You are not better. You are not worse. You are just your great, wonderful, unique self. And that is how we ought to look at ourselves, to be able to care for ourselves. And in summary, I just wanted to put it all together. I just wanted to let us know that self-care is a way that we demonstrate love for ourselves. It should be for the right reasons. It is that conscious effort that we make towards total body, mind, and emotional well-being. Self-care is more meaningful and sustainable if we do it for the right reason, which is the fact that we love ourselves, which is the fact that we are a unique being, which is the fact that we are wonderfully and fearfully made, which is the fact that nobody is better than you as a person. So celebrate yourself this day. I love me before I love you. That should be your language going on. You cannot give what you don't have. That's why the world struggles today. We are trying to love people when we lack in that love for ourselves. Go back, practice self-love as a way to be able to sustain the care for ourselves. I just love you all and thank you for listening.
Wow, wow, wow. Awesome, awesome. Can we give her some love in the chat right now? Throw some love in that chat. Dr. P set the house on fire. She actually said something I'm going to say. So, you know, kindred spirits, you know, great mindset alike. So when you get to my thing, don't say I took it because I already prepared my stuff. But we have the same spirit. So she is speaking truth. Were you blessed by that? Can I get and I forgot to do takeaways because there's a lot going on. And, you know, we're going to stay in the session. There's over 120 something people that registered. But this is my first time doing Zoom events and I didn't know we have to go in and out of the sessions. I don't want to lose anybody on here. Hopefully when they get into the lobby, they just join to the session. So whoever's supposed to be here is here. So we thank the Lord. So let's do some takeaways from the first two sessions. So I'm going to go ahead and do that because I actually didn't do it in Dr. Bailing's session and now we did Dr. P session. So before we get too far in, let's do some takeaways. So in the chat, you know, some of you guys have been writing some stuff in there, so that's awesome. So I love the engagement. I'm so grateful for that. In the chat, just write like a takeaway from Dr. Bailing's section. If we hopefully remember what everything was said, can we please write something in the chat right now and just throw it out there? And then I'm also going to do the raffle. I also promised, so I forgot both things in that section. So let's go ahead and put in the chat right now. And people have been blessed by these. Thank you so much. I love the whole thing, especially reminder on comparison. Yes, that's Dr. P section. The FOLOP hit the spot. Yes. Value yourself. Be intentional about self-care. Schedule reflection at the end of the week. Yes. And then I'm going to open up the floor also if you have any question for Dr. Bailey, because we didn't do this at the end of her section, and then we'll go to Dr. P. Nobody is better than you, and get gritty. Yes, some wonderful takeaways from that section. Fear of letting people down. That was one of the ones I got from there. Like, yeah, like, everyone ever heard of the word people pleaser? Can I see a handshake, people pleaser? Many of us are guilty of that. All right. Many people are people pleasers, and it's something you have to break out of. It's just, you have to understand that, you know what? And I'm going to let Fuluke, if I say any names wrong, I really apologize. I'm going to let Fuluke talk here in a minute. That's a people pleaser. You know, it's like sometimes you pull yourself in so many directions. You have to be everywhere. You don't want to say no to someone. there's a very nice and polite way to say, I really wish I could be part of that, but unfortunately, I have some other obligations or whatever. And just professionally and nicely tell them you're not available, or you can't be everywhere. You can't do all things. So once you get in the habit of doing that, you will be able to do it more. So I think Falika had a question. So go ahead and unmute yourself. And McKenna, I need your help with that. Checking,
No, I
let's
didn't have a
spotlight her.
question. I was just agreeing.
Oh, okay. She raised her hand. Okay. So McKenna is my assistant. Is she doing a great job? Can we give her some love in the chat for McKenna? She is my new assistant. So she is the co-host, and she's going to be doing a lot of technical stuff. So if you hear me say McKenna, just we're all at home here. Okay, guys? So she's going to, if you have a question, if you don't mind, we'll spotlight you to the front so we can see you. Otherwise, you could just unmute yourself if we call your name, and then you can speak. So is there anything else for Dr. Bailing's section? Do anyone have any questions for Dr. Bailing at this time? And I'll still open the floor up at the end of the session for more questions. And if you want to write all your questions down, just write them down and we can get them at the end as well. But I just wanted to keep to my promise when I said I was going to do that. All right. So if everybody know how to use the reactions buttons, the emojis, there's hand raising and there's different things. Okay. All right. So now for Dr. P, let's go ahead. And I know some of you guys probably already put some in there, but go ahead and put some in the chat, some takeaways we took from Dr. P's session. And if anybody wants to unmute, raise your hand if you want to say something on Dr. P's session. And if you have a question, just raise your hand. So renew. I heard someone say renew. Yes. Yeah, she said some wonderful, wonderful things. And, you know, she talked about self-care for the right reason. Before I started my self-care journey and really understanding what it really was about, I used to do the same. Sometimes we do want to just jump in and go lose weight or do this for an event or something like that. And, right now, I don't even know what size I am. Whatever size, I used to be a point where I cared. I do not care anymore. I buy the right size. Okay. If I'm a size 10, I'm a size 10. If I'm a 12, I'm a 12. I'm 14. Whatever the size is, just own your size and just wear it. Stop trying to fit into the smaller clothes. Save those motivation for later. But just love yourself. Wear the size you are. Look good. Put some makeup on. This is Zoom. We could have woke up and just got on here and not cared, but we took time to take care of ourselves. Why? Because we love ourselves. Because we're celebrating ourselves today. And said, yes, it says you are unique self. Give yourself some credit. Break from unhealthy comparison. Yes. But yourself the gift to receive. Yes. It says there's only one you. Love the person you are. Do things to love yourself and put yourself first. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. She gave some good examples of how we prioritize yourself and schedule massages monthly. Let me tell you about massages. All right. Massages are the thing. How many people get some massages? Let me see it in the chat if you get massages. All right. You need to get a massage. There's this place called Beauty Soul Spa. It's very affordable. You get a massage, you get a facial, and something for like a really good price. And I know when Dr. Hope comes on, I know they have some services too. I don't know, facials and stuff. You might talk about that at her place, but you've got to find a place and you've got to treat yourself. Yes. To massages, to foot rubs and things like that. Yeah. Someone says, I need to do better with that. That's okay. We're going to start today, and sometimes you can go into like Massage Envy and schedule. And like the first time you'll get like the first time price. And then of course they try to make you sign up for a membership or whatever, but you can like just re-sign up like 6 months later or something like that. But if you sign up for the membership, at least you're getting a massage every month. So, all right, anybody else? Okay, and I don't see any hand raised. So is there no questions? We'll go to the next session. I really
have a
hope
question in the QA thing. I posted a question.
Oh, please just say it. Just raise your hand. I don't see the question. McKenna, help me monitor the chats there. Go ahead, McCullough. Go ahead and say, I heard that voice.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Good morning, everyone. So the question I posted, I love that saying that Dr. P said, which is, I love myself first before I love you. How do we know the difference between, question for Dr. P. self-love and selfishness, like where do we draw that line? Where do we say this is self-love and maybe this is going into the boundaries of selfishness? How do we separate the two? What is the difference?
You know, I thought about that when I was thinking about this whole conversation, and when I was also kind of like writing the book. And for the longest time too, I thought about if I really take some time to take care of myself, that it might be looked at as being selfish. But there is, if you are, the way I look at self-love is that this is really me loving myself the same way I would love other people. I'm trying to put myself ahead so that I can be able to help other people. Selfish is really when completely you don't do anything for anybody else, and it's just only about you every single time, all the time. But the fact that you take some time to take care of you so that you can take care of other people is not selfish.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I think there's another question there too that was directed to me. Can I just go ahead and answer that too? It says, how would you say we can pioneer without much social support? That's the biggest, the way I look at that is the biggest problem we have today is that we're just waiting for everybody's help, acknowledgement, and just, oh, you know, I just need this group support. I just need my social support. I think we just have to lead ourselves. I'm going back to my book. I think we just have to be our own champion for everything. If we leave it in the hand of the social support, if we leave it in the hand of anybody else, it will not be done. I would just say, you just take the lead. Ignore whether you are, if you get that support, that would be wonderful. But even if you are not, take the lead over that, because it has to do with you and you are responsible for you, in my own opinion. So whether you get that support or not, take the lead.
All right. Thank you, Dr. P. All right. I am going to go on to the next section. Like I said, everybody's just gonna have to meet us here because we're having a great time here. Let's do the raffle. McKenna. So since Dr. P just went, she graciously donated one of her books. Do you have one of your books to show us? So we are going to raffle. Let me put her back up here so we can see. We are going to raffle off one of her books, Leading Me. And normally you get it on Amazon, but she's going to raffle it off today. So McKenna, drum roll, please. Who is the winner? Betty Ogle. Is Betty Ogle here? And I feel so bad because a lot of people registered and you have to be here to win. You know, I don't know if they're in the lobby.
I am here.
You're here, Chris. See, I told you that everyone that's supposed to be here, that's a random raffle thing, but of so many names. Hey, and your name was picked and you were here, you're in the house. Can we give her an applause? She won the book. Okay, somebody's raising their hand. McKenna, are you on that? Somebody just raised their hand, spotlight them.
I think she brought it down. It was Brittany. Brittany, do you have anything to say?
Okay, maybe she brought her hand down. So Betty, Dr. P is going to send you that book. We'll get with you afterwards to get your address. We'll get you that book. You'll be truly blessed by it. I read it. It's amazing. And so, all right. So we're going to do the next raffle at the next session. All right. The next lady I want to bring up here is a wonderful lady. You can tell by her smile that she is blessed. All right. She is a lovely wife, a mother, a medical doctor. She practices at Mercy Grace, and she's involved in so many things. Like you said, she's also like, I think you're a co-pastor as well in the church. She's involved in the church, and she, like you said, her daughter's speaking today, so she knows how to balance it. So I'm going to bring up to the stage And I want to hear some applause for this lady. I want to bring her up to the stage. I want you to give her some love in the chat. Throw some love in the chat. This is our medical doctor here today, free of charge. Praise the Lord. She is here for us. Dr. Hope Ijeola, and I sometimes say her name wrong, so please forgive me. And she's going to share with us wonderful topics. Please take some notes and let's be encouraged today. And I'm going to get out of here and let her. All right, here we go.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Dr. Tubi. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you to everyone. This feels so, I think this is the warmest Zoom meeting I've been on. It feels so warm, even though it's virtual. Thank you to everyone who is, a part of this. You can feel the love, you can feel the engagement. And McKenna, you're doing a fantastic job. Thank you. I'm really honored to be here. I was blessed to hear the other two speakers before me. That's Dr. Rachel and then Dr. Precious. It's nice to meet you virtually. I've heard so much about you. So it's nice to actually put a face now to all the good things I've heard. So without further ado, Dr. Tubi has asked me to speak about taking care of the whole self. And I have a PowerPoint presentation. So I'm going to see if I can share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen? Yeah, okay, good. All right, good. So, so basically, just a little bit about myself. My name is Hope Ijeola. Like Dr. Tubi said, I am a doctor, I'm a primary care physician, and my husband and I, we have a practice out in Gilbert called Mercy Grace Private Practice. That practice is 12 years old now. We are originally Nigerian. We trained and did our medical degree in Nigeria, and then we lived in Trinidad and Tobago for about 6-7 years before we moved on to New York to do our residency. And then we got out of there really quick because the snow and I are not friends. And so we moved to Arizona, and we've been here since 2008. And yeah, that's me in a nutshell. We have 2 kids. Our son is at the U of A. He's in his 2nd year right now. And then our daughter is currently, like Dr. Tubi said, she's presenting at a Model UN conference they do in high school. And she's supposed to be speaking about one country that I've never heard of. So, but it's an honor to be here. And again, thank you, Dr. Tubi, for giving me the opportunity to share. So today I wanted to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about our physical health, where we will generally be going based on recommendations that are from the USPSTF. And we're going to actually also go into some preventive services. I'll mention that. And we'll touch base on, screenings like blood pressure screenings, cholesterol screenings, diabetes, HIV screenings, as well as immunizations. The important thing to know is that you want to talk to your provider about your own personal risk and your risk factors, so they can come up with the best risk reducing strategies for you. So it's very important that you communicate, talk to your doctor about any concern you have, no matter how random it might be or how it might not make sense to you. But don't be afraid to ever ask your doctor, even though it might seem like they don't have time. Just say, hey, I have a question. and let them know what your concern is. And then we're going to also talk about mental health, and a lot of what we've shared already today actually is part of what we're going to be talking about. So I'm glad that, Dr. Rachel and Dr. Precious already kind of did a lot of the heavy lifting for me. For the reason why we want to focus about mental health is we want to detect it early. And now in the offices, when you go to your doctor's offices, you should be getting some forms that will ask you certain questions about if you're having trouble sleeping, if you feel down or feel depressed or feel hopeless, or if you don't have any interest in doing things, or if you are having trouble concentrating, or if you are having thoughts of not being here. So those are screening forms that we use to kind of identify people that are having symptoms of depression and anxiety, because sometimes if the visit is very focused on a problem, we might miss it. So the best time to actually fill these forms is during your annual physical, so that those things can be picked up. You also want to actually work at preventing mental health disorders by seeking help. If you notice that you are starting to, not want to get up out of bed, don't want to start your day, maybe because of the stresses, you just feel like that you feel overwhelmed, you want to seek help. It might be a friend, it might be a family member, it might be a doctor, it might be your pastor, anybody that you can reach out to. You don't want to not speak up. You want to actually seek help. And another way of preventing is by managing stress, which is part of what Dr. Rachel and Dr. Precious have talked about today. And we'll go a little bit further into this as we go along. So why is this important? What's the big deal with this preventive services? Why some countries, they don't even do preventive screenings, and why are we focused on it, in the States? But the reason why we want to do this is so that we can actually detect conditions early. Because when we detect them early, then it's easier to treat. If we detect it later on, then the treatment sometimes may be so harsh that you can't continue. And then it might just be to where we don't even have an option to treat. So the reason for the screening is to actually catch things early so you can treat them easier. And if we are 50 or older, you want to get an annual physical exam every year, as in annually every year. If we're younger than that and we don't have any chronic conditions, then you can get it every 3 years. Now, how will you know if you've had chronic conditions, right? You have to have gone at some point to know that, my blood pressure is fine, my blood sugar is fine, my cholesterol level is fine, and then you can, repeat that in another 3 years. But if we've never gone and you're less than 50, then you want to at least start, and then from there when next you need to go. Most of the time your doctor will tell you, but a lot of times we feel like I'm fine, I don't, nothing is wrong with me, but we've not checked, so we don't want to stick our heads in the sand. We want to go so that we can know what we need to deal with, so that we can deal with it sooner than later before it causes complications. Yeah. So we're gonna now dive in a little deeper, and we're going to talk about heart health. And heart health, the way we can detect it early is by those regular checkups that I just talked about, coming to your doctor's office. When the doctor takes the history, they're actually evaluating your risk for heart disease. When they're asking you if there's anybody in your family who's ever had a heart attack, how old they were when they had the heart attack, that can affect you. If you have a family member, an immediate family member that's male, and they had a heart attack before they were 65 years old, that impacts you. If you have an immediate family member that's female who had a heart attack or a stroke, that's what we call cardiovascular disease or coronary artery disease, that will impact you if they're less than 55. So those questions are important to share with your primary care physician so that they can take the necessary steps, because you might need a little bit more in-depth testing, or your cholesterol levels have to be looked at a little bit closer, meaning that your goal will be different from somebody who doesn't have those same risk factors. Prevention, I know we've heard this, and we've heard it so much that we're so tired of hearing it. Our diet is important. Our diet is important. Now, we're all in this together. The struggle is real. Trust me, I understand. And when we're busy and it's hard for us to juggle eating well, which involves meal planning, it involves, the ideal would be for you making everything yourself at home, starting from scratch, and what's going into your food, exactly what's in it. That would be ideal in an ideal world. For some of us, we can't do that, and we do that, and that I applaud you. That's fantastic. That's what you want. For the rest of us, when we're busy and we don't have the time to do that, it can be a challenge, but you want to do as best as you can, at least 80% of the time, because nobody's perfect, right? But at least 80% of the time, you want to try to get your diet to be limited in processed foods as much as possible. Now, there are certain risk factors for heart disease or cardiovascular disease, like high blood pressure and high cholesterol. So if you already have been told by your doctor that your blood pressure is high, or if you're on medication for it, or you've been told that your cholesterol levels are high, your diet will be a bit different from somebody who doesn't have those issues. So if your blood pressure is high, this is where you want to pay attention to your sodium intake. And the average person in America right now consumes about 3,600 milligrams of sodium every day. And the American Heart Association recommends that we have 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day. So our sodium content in our diet is very, very high. So if we can start from monitoring our sodium, and you might ask that, how do I know? The one easy place to start is by checking when you go to the grocery store, look at the nutrition facts label behind what you buy. It will have that nutrition facts panel. Look at the sodium and go all the way to the right. It will tell you the percent daily value. So there's this 5-20 rule. If that percent daily value says 20 or more, that means whatever that food is, it is high in sodium. Whatever you go down that list where it would say sodium or carbs or saturated fat, if you go all the way to the right and look at the percent daily value, if it's over 20, that means that thing is high in that nutrient. So if you have, if you are on blood pressure medications or you've been told your blood pressure is high, you want to limit the sodium to 5% or less. 5% means that thing is low in sodium, or that nutrient, if it's 5%. Now, we might not be able to, get 5% sometimes in terms of what we want. What you can do then is you can adjust the serving size. So if you have a can, and which is processed, and we shouldn't, but if you buy a can of soup, let's just be real. If you buy a can of soup and it tells you that sodium is, it's usually higher than that, but let's say it tells you the sodium is 10%. You can now adjust that serving size, because the 10% is based on the serving size, and they will tell you the serving size. If you take half of that serving size, that percent daily value, you have actually cut it in half as well. So then you can actually make that low, whatever food you're having, you can make it low in sodium by using half of that serving size. Does that make sense? I hope everybody's following. So you can use that especially if you go to your pantry now after this meeting and you're like, let's see what we have. And like, oh my God, this is 40%. One thing that gets me all the time is percent added sugar, which they have started adding now. As at 2019, they passed the new regulation. They had to have the percent daily value. And 1 cup of Yoplait yogurt is like 40% added sugar. I'm like, Jesus, this is a lot. And I thought I was having yogurt and I was feeling happy. No. And if I cut this yogurt in half, it's still high, it's still 20%. So that's what you kind of use to kind of gauge, okay, what do I need to stop buying? Because if you don't buy it, if it's not in your house, then you're not going to eat it, right? Unless you go out looking for it. But if it's in the pantry, it's going to call your name and you're going to wake up and eat it. So you want to kind of be more aware of what you buy by looking at that nutrition facts panel. The other thing is exercise. And Dr. Rachel talked about this. She made me feel just kind of ashamed that she's going marathon running, and I'm trying to figure this out. But like I said, we're all in this together. Exercise is important. The aim is you want 150 minutes a week of aerobic exercise. That's like running, like she does, or walking, or cycling, or jogging, or swimming. Anything that increases your heart rate to where you can talk but you cannot sing. That's moderate intensity. That's what you want to aim for. If you're exercising to where you cannot talk, that's actually vigorous intensity exercise, which is great if you can do it. So it's just a way to kind of gauge where you're at without having to, see what your heart rate is. If you don't want to be bothered by that, just kind of see, are you able to talk? Are you able to sing? If you're singing, then we have not reached where we need to be. We need to step it up. However, if that's what you can do now, start where you are. Yeah, just be consistent with it. We've heard the saying, in consistency lies the power. If you're consistent with 5 days a week of 10 minutes of exercise, it makes a difference. Don't beat yourself up. Don't say, this isn't gonna work. Be consistent with that, and then you will get better. And then you can increase it to 15, 5 days a week, and then you can increase it to 25 days a week. Another way of preventing heart health is smoking cessation. So if we smoke, that is a huge one where you want to actually work hard at quitting. I know it can be a challenge for people that have struggled with it, but that's absolutely important, because that just cuts across a lot of medical conditions where there are no ifs, ands, or buts around it. You have to figure out or ask your primary doctor about helping you quit. The other exercise I haven't mentioned yet is weight strength resistance exercises, and that you can use your body weights or you can use exercises, but make sure it's safe, make sure you're fit, and make sure you don't hurt yourself. Check with your doctor before you do it. Now we're going to go on to the Pap test. Now for the Pap, this is a test that detects if there's any cancer in the cervix, in the women's parts, and it's done by either your GYN or your primary care physician could do it. If we're younger than 30, the recommendation is that you have a Pap test every 3 years. We do not test for HPV in this age group because we found that we were overtreating and subjecting the younger ones to so many procedures where they would have cleared the virus by themselves. So now we start the HPV testing at age 30. So between age 30 all the way to 65, you ideally, preferably want to have a Pap test with an HPV every 5 years. Now that's if it's normal. If it's not normal, then that changes, and that would change depending on what your result is. And your doctor or your GYN will usually direct you as to the next steps. But what's the reason for this? The reason is because the 5-year survival rate for localized cervical cancer is about 92%. So there's a high chance that you will survive it if it's found early. So that's why you want to actually not miss out on your Pap screenings. Another way that we can prevent it is HPV vaccination. So HPV vaccine is recommended for anyone from 11 or 12. And in the US, it's actually approved all the way to age 45. The downside to that is some insurances may not cover it after 26. But the HPV vaccination is important if there is a history of multiple sexual partners. Because that increases your risk for getting HPV infection, which increases your risk for getting cervical cancer. So that's when you want to consider the HPV vaccination. Now for kids, the reason why it's recommended is because of just the culture of lots of sexual activity at a young age. That's why the age starts from 11. And the HPV the HPV is the human papilloma virus. It's actually been linked to oropharyngeal cancers, head and neck cancers, anal cancers, vaginal cancers, vulva cancers, cervical cancer, and cervical precancerous lesions. So it's very notorious for causing a lot of cancers, not just cervical cancer. So this is actually even recommended in men as well, that the boys also get vaccinated because they can also get the infection from unsafe sex and transmit it to even more girls. In the US, we have the Gardasil 9 as a vaccine, and that covers 9 strains of the HPV, which are usually associated with all of these cancers that I listed out. So that's the Pap test. And then we have the mammogram. Now, the recommendation is that women start getting their mammograms from age 40 all the way through 70. Now, if you have a family history, it's very important for you to know the age when that family member was diagnosed with breast cancer, because that affects you, especially if it's your immediate family. For example, if a mom had breast cancer at 48, then the daughter would need to start her mammograms at 38. You want to start about 10 years younger. So the recommendation could vary depending on your risk. Other detection methods that you can use are self-breast exam, as well as clinical breast exam. I thought someone had a question. Okay, so so the self-breast exam is what I want to emphasize. I know the USPSTF had gone back and forth as to whether it should be done or it should not be done. What we have found out is that, especially in the African American population, they were not very well represented in all the studies that were used to come up with these recommendations. So you want to do your breast self-exam, so that, because you will be the first person to notice anything that's you've never noticed before, and then you can tell us, oh, I saw something, and then the primary care physician can go on to doing more investigation so we can catch things sooner. Okay. And bone density scan. Now, this is used to detect osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is when you have increase in porosity or loss of density in the bone, and that makes one to be at risk for fractures. So it makes the bone more brittle. And usually we scan women after menopause. So the current age is about 60, but that depends really on when the woman went into menopause. And we usually use a guideline of 5 years from when you went into menopause. So if you went into early menopause, let's say at 48, your bone density scan will start at 53. So all of this is why you want to come for your annual checkup, so that we can go through the history, as in get a good history, and that will actually determine when your own screenings need to be. The way of preventing osteoporosis is to make sure your diet is adequate in calcium and vitamin D, as well as getting regular weight-bearing exercises, like I was alluding to. The recommendation is for you to have 75 minutes of anaerobic exercises, and these are kind of like strength training exercises, and you can do this with or without weights. Also, if you smoke, you want to stop smoking, because that increases the risk of osteoporosis, and you also want to cut down any excessive alcohol use. Colonoscopy. So the guideline changed a couple of years ago. It used to be that we would start from age 50. Now we actually recommend starting from age 45, especially in African Americans, because we were finding a higher incidence of colon cancer in the younger age group, more in African Americans than in whites. And so now the recommendation is that you start from age 45. And the 3 modalities right now that we use for screening, the gold standard is the colonoscopy. Even that is not 100%, but that's the gold standard. And that is because it's able to detect cancers or precancerous lesions or polyps. And they use that endoscopy, or fiber optic endoscopy, and they look in through the back, and they look at the whole entire colon. And if they see a polyp, they can take out the polyp and send it to the lab. And if everything is negative and the quality of the colonoscopy was good and adequate, then your next colonoscopy is in 10 years. But if it's not, or if the polyp that was removed was precancerous, then that would change when next you need the colonoscopy, and they will advise you as to when next you need to come. The other options we have, usually for people that don't want to do a colonoscopy for various reasons, is the stool testing. And right now we have 2 that we use mainly, and one is to test for hemoglobin in the blood, and that's done annually. And the other one is actually to test for like the cancer gene, like DNA alterations that might suggest cancer. And that one is done every 3 years. That's called the Cologuard, and that's done every 3 years. But those the downside to those is you don't see what's going on in the colon. So you don't see that there is a polyp, and you don't take out a polyp. That could advise you as to when you need to do another test. So this, but for people that don't want to go through the prep or can't tolerate the prep because that can be intense, or they might not want to be put to sleep for various reasons, then this is the next best thing. The sigmoidoscopy is a form of colonoscopy using a flexible endoscope, but it only goes as far as the left colon. It doesn't go across to the transverse colon, and it doesn't go down the ascending colon. So you run the risk of missing cancers that are on the right side, especially because we do tend to find cancers on the right side as well. And that sometimes is missed even in a full colonoscopy. So sigmoidoscopy is not usually done unless there's a particular reason why we don't want to subject the patient to a colonoscopy. But you can take out polyps with that one, and that can be done every 5 to 10 years as well. The next one I'm going to talk about is reproductive and sexual health. So this is where you want to get your regular vulval exams. So apart from the PAP, this involves an actual vaginal exam where the GYN usually would palpate and feel for the uterus, feel if there's any fibroid, if there might be any cysts or any masses going on. Also, they take, this is where you pay more attention to your menstrual history, see if the menstrual period is regular or not, and see if you're at risk for the fibroids or if you're at risk for what we call polycystic ovarian syndrome. And that is significant because that can impact your insulin sensitivity and can put you at risk for diabetes, actually. So that's one that you don't want to miss out. And they also will check you for any sexually transmitted infections and do the screenings then. And this is where they advise about safe sex practices. This is where they can advise about contraceptive options or family planning services. Now, immunizations. So we know the annual one is the flu test. That's the flu vaccine, which you want to get annually. The COVID, you want to get the initial 2, followed by boosters, depending on which one you get. The latest booster now has kind of put the other 2 boosters, made the other 2 boosters obsolete. So most times, if you've never gotten a COVID vaccine, you might need only 2 or 3. If it's Moderna, it's 2. If it's Pfizer, it's 3. But that's a recommendation to get. And then you have the pneumonia shot. The pneumonia shot is for people 50 and above, or for people that have specific risk factors like asthma, diabetes, chronic kidney disease, people that do not have a spleen, and different things. So during your assessment, during your physical, that's when your doctor will be able to tell you what you should get, whether you should get a pneumonia shot or not. Shingles shot is recommended for 50 and above, and this is 2 doses that are given 6 months apart. And the Tdap, which is for tetanus, diphtheria, and pertussis. Pertussis is the one that causes the whooping cough. That one is every 10 years, or if you get a cut, like a laceration, then that would be given if you've not gotten one in the last 5 years. Also, with each pregnancy, the pregnant woman is usually given a Tdap vaccine as well, because you want to protect the newborn actually from whooping cough, because when the newborn comes, they're at risk for whooping cough and they don't get the whooping cough vaccine for a few months. Pediatricians will be able to tell me better about that. So you protect the actual baby by getting the Tdap vaccine. And it's actually recommended that anyone who's going to be around the baby the first few months should also get the Tdap vaccine so that they don't make the baby sick. There are other ones like the meningitis, which is usually given in childhood up until college. They usually recommend between 19 and 23-year-olds that you get 1 dose as well. And there's the hepatitis A and B, which is usually for specific populations, people in the medical field or people that have risk factors for that. The latest one, actually 2 days ago, I realized there is now a monkeypox vaccine recommendation out, but it's for specific risk groups. That just came out 2 days ago. The RSV came out a couple months ago, and that is for the RSV infection that used to be only in kids and never really was a big deal to adults until we started seeing a lot of adults being hospitalized with RSV. And so especially the senior ones, we're having a hard time fighting it. So they now came up with a vaccine. And so it's for 60 and above, 60 years and older, that you get 1 dose, or in pregnant women, actually, between the gestational age 32 and 36 weeks, it's actually recommended that they get an RSV vaccine now. So that is, there's a lot more, but it all depends on risk factors as well, recommendations. And now we are going to talk about mental health, managing stress. And I'll talk about these in detail in the upcoming slides. I wanted to highlight the relax and have fun part that Dr. Precious was talking about. That's a very important part of managing stress, and also what Dr. Tibi was alluding to in terms of getting facials, treating yourself, whatever you enjoy doing. It might be, going to Starbucks and just sitting with a cup of coffee and having a journal and just writing and just looking out of the window. It might be something really simple, but it just gives you that time to yourself where you can relax. That's extremely important in managing your mental health. So we're going to start with exercise. Now we've talked about this already, but I just want to highlight that what you want to do is find an activity you enjoy. Why? Because that's the one you're most likely to stick to. Like how Dr. Rachel enjoys running. I do not, so I'm not likely to stick to that, but that's what she enjoys and that's what you will likely continue to do. And make sure it suits your level of fitness. For you to continue to do it, make sure you can do it. And then set realistic and achievable goals. If you can only do 3 days a week, like she said, and 15 minutes, there's nothing wrong with that. Just be consistent with the 3 days a week and 15 minutes. That makes a difference. And schedule it in the calendar. She's totally right. If you don't schedule it, then we're probably not going to do it. Another big thing is to invite a friend to join you. That will help keep you accountable, because the first time you might be like, oh, I overslept, and the second time you're like, gosh, I had a meeting. After that, you're going to be too embarrassed to say, I didn't make it. So you're going to force yourself to go. So that kind of helps with accountability to help you stay consistent with it. And then staying connected. Social connection is essential for our mental health. One of the reasons is it provides that sense of belonging, and it protects against isolation. Now, a lot of times, where we wonder, how do I stay connected? You actually, I'm just going to borrow a leaf from what Dr. Precious said in terms of you take charge. You reach out to friends, you reach out to family, you reach out to someone. You'll be surprised that, the person, maybe someone you've not spoken to in a long time, is just a phone call away. And that phone call, you might talk for 2 hours. So sometimes you might feel like nobody's calling me, but you take charge, you own that, and you call someone, reach out to them and make that connection. It will actually help your own mental health. Or you could join a group where they share your own common interests, or volunteer for something that you're passionate about. If you feel too overwhelmed to do any of these things, then that's a sign that you want to actually seek help. Talk to your doctor, talk to somebody, but seek help if you're struggling with staying connected. We don't want to be isolated, because it's very if you're not staying connected, but you are, like Dr. Precious said, you're loving yourself and you're putting yourself first, and you're strong in that, you likely will be able to reach out to somebody and make a call. But if you're not able to reach out or join a club or volunteer, then there might be something, then it might not be healthy anymore. So that's where you want to kind of pay attention and kind of be aware of yourself and see exactly where you are, and then seek help, reach out. The other thing is another way to actually improve your mental health is by practicing gratitude, and just taking stock of where you are and thanking everything that has been said this morning, looking in the mirror and thanking God for you, thanking God for your clothes, thanking God that you have a house, a home, thanking God that you have food to eat, thanking God that you have a car to get around in, thanking God that you have a family. And simple things that we might overlook are things we can thank God for. And what that does is it changes our focus. So instead of focusing on the negative, where we get angry, or we might get envious, comparing ourselves with others, or we might get bitter, it just creates that whole cycle of negativity that just makes it worsens the feeling of depression, it worsens the hopelessness. But when we focus on gratitude, then it helps us to focus on the positive, and it changes that cycle. It breaks that cycle, and it changes what would automatically be depression. It changes that to where all of a sudden there's a sense of hope as opposed to hopelessness. So ways we can practice gratitude. I love Dr. Tubi's journal. I got one of that. I got a couple actually. And she says every day there's a place to say one thing that you're grateful for, one thing that you're thankful for. I like the fact that it's one thing, because sometimes you're like, if you think of 3, you're like, oh my God, okay, 1, 2, 3, and it takes a toll. But when you just need to write down one, that works too. But ways to practice gratitude: write down something, 1 or 3 things that you're grateful for, or thank someone who has helped you. Sometimes we it doesn't hurt to say thanks again. We might have said thanks at the time, but just send in a text the next morning and say, hey, I just wanted to thank you again for this. It does something to you, even though the other person will be happy that you did it, but it does something for you on your inside. Or express your appreciation for something that you enjoy, and that it helps your own mindset. It helps change that. Another thing that we can do is learn new skills. This has actually been studied and shown that it stimulates our brain when we do that, and we challenge ourselves, and it helps us feel better about ourselves. It helps us boost our confidence because we're doing something entirely new. You might discover new passions, you might discover new hobbies, you might discover new opportunities. And so what are ways you can do this? Enroll in a course or a workshop, or read a book, Dr. Precious's book, Leading Me. Read that book. Watch a video or podcast. Ask someone to teach you something. And learn a new language is one I added by myself, because that's something I'm doing right now. So you pray for me. But that's something that you can challenge yourself, and it can help your mindset. The last but not the least one is mindfulness. And that is where you're actually intentionally being aware of your breathing and being aware of yourself in a non-judgmental way. So you're not paying attention to yourself and criticizing yourself. You're just paying attention to your breathing at that moment, and you're working on breathing and relaxing. And the breathing exercises that are actually very, very vital and very important to your mental health as well as your physical health. Because when you do those, and there's different apps that you might find on your phone, your iPhone or your Apple Watch, for example, the Calm app. And that's something that you can do. Just take time out, especially when the day is really crazy. I call it a take 5. You take 5 and you just take slow, long breaths in and out. And what that does is actually stimulates those neurotransmitters, those endorphins, and it causes your body to actually feel good, and it reduces the other ones like norepinephrine and epinephrine and cortisol, and it causes your blood pressure to go down, your heart rate to go down. And when you're taking those deep breaths, you're actually improving your lung function, you're improving your oxygen delivery. It helps your brain function and your memory, because that hippocampus in the brain is the part that's responsible for short-term memory. It helps it expand when you do those deep breaths, and that helps, it enhances your learning, it helps with your memory. Apart from that, it helps you calm your mind, it helps you go to sleep at night, it helps you release tension. So it's a good tool to also use when you go to bed. If you're having difficulty falling asleep, you want to spend 5-10 minutes and just take slow, deep breaths in and out. And that actually has been shown to improve the quality and the duration of your sleep. There is a bonus slide here, which I thought would be helpful to those that feel like they don't know how to do it. There's just some steps to how you can do your own breathing exercise at home or in your car. I do it in my car. Sometimes I go out of the office and go to my car to do it. And one thing you can add on top of the breathing to kind of help you relax is, once you get into that cycle of your slow, deep breaths, then you want to actually focus on your muscles from the crown of your head all the way down to the soles of your feet, and work at relaxing them, and just go from the top down. And you actually feel the difference. By the end of the 5-7 minutes, you feel your blood pressure has gone down, you feel your heart rate has gone down, you feel more relaxed, and you actually feel clearer mentally. You have some clarity where you're able to focus and think better than before that. So without further ado, thank you for the opportunity. I'll hand you back to Dr. Tooby.
All right. Thank you so much. McKenna, are you spotlighting or I'm spotlighting? Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Hope. That was a lot of information. I hope you guys were taking notes. We're going to do some takeaways on that. I just want to say the importance of the, what do you call it? The screenings. During COVID, I know a lot of people missed some of their screenings. Me, one of them. And I actually went 4 years without screenings. So we just thank God for his mercy. When I went for my mammogram, they did see something. but we thank God. I fasted and prayed and all that, and went back, and everything was gone. And you know, had to do some blood tests and everything. Everything is great, but it just really reminded me, because of all the, you know, being in school and running a business and stuff. And that's part of the reason why I'm so passionate about this now. A lot of times you have to go through your own things. It's not like you're not an expert just because. Why do I care about self-care? Because it means so much to me. You know, why do I care about, why did I put a preventive screenings, a doctor's appointments in my journal, first page? Because it's really important. A lot of times, especially as women, we take care of our children, we take care of our husbands, we take care of everybody else around us, and we forget to go for ours. We make sure we schedule our kids' appointments and their kids' immunizations, our kids' screenings, and we're on top of our husbands and we're on top of everybody else, and then we fall to the side. So I just want to really piggyback on that and just really say how important it is as women to get to go for our scheduling, screenings, and do our preventative maintenance, eating healthy, exercise. And there's nothing wrong with once in a while you treat yourself, just as long as it's not making it a daily habit, you know. And like I said, I'll practice what I preach more on the food part of it. Because I love to eat sometimes, and sometimes, you know, like I said, I won't buy the bad things for home, but hey, we'll get to a party, you're like, well, it's a party, let's eat. So, but there's nothing wrong with splurging once in a while, just don't make it a lifestyle. So thank you so much, Dr. Hope, for that. Let's give Dr. Hope some love in the chat for this wonderful session that we needed to hear. And let's get some applause. Can we give some love to Dr. Hope in the chat? And then we're gonna do some takeaways. Oh, I missed a whole bunch of stuff. Yes. Don't you guys love our sound effects today? All right. So what are some takeaways and questions for Dr. Hope? I know we had a question. I want to address that. I will address Betty. I'm going to address your question on that in a minute. What are some specific questions and some takeaways? Can everyone drop a takeaway right now in the chat? Something, just one thing that stood out to you the most when Dr. Hope was talking. Just drop it in the chat so I can read it out. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And we're going to do a raffle too. Yes, yes, yes. Take 5. Yes, that was a good one. Take 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes. Screenings. Know your status and take the preventative steps. Yes, yes, yes. Very important. Yes, what else? What other, let everybody just drop a takeaway in the chat. Expansion on being grateful even for the little things. Yes. What else? What else? What else? Let's go. Breathing techniques. Breathe. Can you imagine that we forget to breathe? We, you know, thank God we don't have to think of breathing, you know, but actually regulating our breathing, so important. That colonoscopy, yes, very important. Screenings. I learned some new things about the HPV. As a matter of fact, many years ago, I think they said something about that, and I never knew that HPV was connected to all those things. So very important things that we're learning. Get info on preventive care. Okay, anybody else? Anybody have a question for Dr. Hope? Just use your hand raise. All right, Josephine McKenna, can we please spotlight her, please?
Hi.
I got it. Okay. All right. So you have a question? Go ahead.
Oh, hi. So I was going to ask Dr. Hope about she said something about the mammogram, saying if a mother was diagnosed with the breast cancer at 48 or 49, the daughter has to do the screening at 29 or something. So I want to get the numbers right because my mom was diagnosed at 59. So I want to know if it's time for me to go do all of that.
Okay, thanks, Josephine. So if your mom was diagnosed at 59, you want to start yours 10 years earlier or at 40, whichever comes first. So 59 would mean you would have already started your mammograms at 40, right? If she was diagnosed at 59, because then the age would be 49. So you'd have already started at 40. So you should already be good.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I think I saw a question in the chat. Okay, from Monique. She wanted to know, are pap tests still important after a hysterectomy? That's a great question. Now, when you have a hysterectomy, sometimes if they leave the cervical stump, the cervix is the bottom of the uterus. So sometimes they might leave the cervical stump and take out the top. If you still have the cervical stump at the bottom, then you still need a pap. But if they've taken out everything, you don't need a cervical pap. What is sometimes done is a vaginal pap. And that's usually for if you're at risk for, if you're at high risk for the cancer, either because of a family history of genetic screens or family history of, you know, cancers in the female area, then they might do a vaginal pap just to make sure that they are covering all the bases. But usually if it's a total abdominal hysterectomy and you don't have your cervix, you don't need a cervical pap.
All right, thank you for that answer. Hopefully that answers the question. I think Brittany Harris has a question as well. Does Josephine, do you have another question, or do you want to put your hand down if you already asked it? Okay, Brittany Harris, do you want to go ahead and ask your question? I don't see an option to spotlight her. Do you see that, McKenna?
Yes, I can hear you.
Brittany, we're trying to spotlight you to the front, but are you on your phone?
I'm on my computer.
Okay. Yeah, for some reason it's not giving us. Do you have an option, McKenna? On her three? Okay. All right, go ahead and ask your question. Hey, with me. This is Jinxed. Okola, are you there? Let me hear from Okola. Are you excited or what?
I am so surprised.
And she's gonna hold me to my word because she knows me. She's gonna hold me to my word. We're gonna go to a spa day in Scottsdale. So get ready, Bukola. Check your schedule. We're gonna have a good girls' day, spa day together. All right, that's one. I have some other wonderful raffles, so stay tuned. You have to be present to win. And I have a great reveal at the end. All right, right now we are in our panel discussion. So ladies, first of all, we've been sitting down. Can everybody just stand up for a second and just stretch? Just stretch. Don't worry if you have slippers on or whatever. If you're only wearing like a shirt, I understand, just sit. Some people just want, let's stretch. We talked about exercise and stuff. We've been sitting for a while. Okay, we're going into our panel discussion about daily self-care, all right? And so what we're gonna do is just go around and just take a couple minutes to say our routine. And since I'm already talking, I guess I'll just go first on that. What do we do for daily self-care? And then we'll just go like in the order of speakers. So me, then Dr. Baling, then Dr. P, Dr. Hope, and welcome Nifi to the stage. She's going to be going our next session on skincare. What is your skin telling you about your self-care? So you definitely want to stay tuned for that session. So for daily self-care for me, I do my morning routine, which is I like to wake up earlier than everybody in my house. I actually learned that when I was in my doctoral program, waking up earlier and going downstairs and getting stuff done. So I kept doing that whenever I have the chance to wake up and get a little worship in and just get a little quiet time in before there's a lot of, Mom, I'm hungry and what we're doing and all this stuff like that. So I like to do that. Then I like to drink my tea, my green tea. At one point I went to coffee, but then I went back to tea. Stretch, journal, and yeah, that's just my morning routine, and say some positive affirmations to myself. When I was going through there was a time I was going through some screenings and testings and all this stuff. My affirmations during that period of time was just, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. I am healthy, I am whole, I'm healed, and all this kind of stuff like that. And it worked. So just those are my daily self-care routines. I like to also treat myself, go for massages and take myself to a restaurant once in a while. Right. So, all right, I'm not going to take too much time. That's my self-care routine. And let's get into Dr. Baling's self-care routine.
Thank you, Dr. Tooby. So my self-care routine, I would say every night before I go to bed, I'm all about patterns, because patterns trigger different things in my brain. So after a really, really busy day, my pattern before I go to bed, give my husband a hug, say goodnight to my dog, have a skincare routine that just calms my brain, lets my brain know if I'm washing my face, if I'm doing that care for my skin, it's triggering my brain that bed's coming next. And then before I go into my room, take care of my family. I just make sure first, like I said, kiss my husband goodbye, good night, say goodnight to my dog. And then I check with my kids, I check with my parents. I'm one of the lucky ones that has both of my parents still on this earth. So I check with my parents, I check with my children, just a quick, hey, good night. Yeah, I know I'm old, I'm going to bed at 8:30. Just my people are okay. Then I fall asleep. In the morning, super tactical, check my money. So I check to make sure there's no surprises financially. I check to make sure that no texts came in overnight, right? I have adult children. And I also have several people in my immediate that we just take care of each other. So I just check to see that nothing crazy came in overnight. So at night, I check my people. In the morning, I check my money, I check my finances, I check anything that could have blown up overnight. And then I walk my dog, I go for a run, and then I come back home, I shower, and I meditate so that I have that mental and emotional break. Once I've meditated, and you can't see it because it's blurred, but I have a big, fuzzy, pink, comfortable chair that is the most girly thing I've ever owned in my life. And it's right behind my desk. So I sit in that chair and I meditate. Gives me that mental break before I jump into becoming a very, very tactical crisis manager here at Honeywell. So those are my self-care routines. And it just, there's so many unknowns in our life, but my brain reacts very well to compartmentalizing and having patterns of things I can control. So with that, I'm going to turn it back to who is next after me that wants to take it.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bailey.
You're
Dr.
welcome.
P. And you guys give some love in the chat for each person talking. Let's keep this love going today. I love in this group today. Keep some love in the chat. All right, Dr. P.
All right. For me, I start my day off in the morning. I get up, I just have and my morning prayers are shorter than the evening ones. And so I start my morning, I pray. I don't look at my phone for anything. That's why sometimes people are wondering why I'm seeing their messages late. I would not look at my phone for anything. I don't want surprises in the morning until I have prayed. And then I get up. And then I just go get ready to take a shower. And while I'm doing that, I'm listening to worship songs, and I just kind of like calm my brain with that. And I have like alternate. So I call my mom as I'm driving to work. It helps me to wind down. She's not here with me, so I like to call her every day, like make sure that she's okay. And if she's okay, it just kind of like helps me to also feel good. And just that routine for the morning. The morning is different. So this is my weekday morning. And but any day that I don't do those worships it has never really gone well. So I have made it a routine to do those worships more than I used to do in the past, listening to those worship songs. Then in the evening is my, I have to listen to motivation, then I have to walk around. I'm not like you, Dr. Bailey. I don't run. I wish I can run 20 miles, 5 miles. But I do take a lot of work. I'm glad to have, big enough backyard where I can walk around up to like 45 minutes, just walking around and just saying words of affirmation to myself. And it's just really nice because I can just block my ears. I'm not listening to anything else. I don't hear the neighbors. I don't hear anybody. And I just say words of affirmation to myself, wrap up my day, and just, drop it like that. And then sit down outside. That was something new that I started doing. It is incredible how wonderful you feel with those like outside fresh breeze and fresh air. And then like I did share when I was talking monthly, I have to do my massages monthly. I think it is helping me to kind of like calm down. I started massages as more like a therapeutic thing, but now it's no longer like therapeutic. It's more like a just pampering myself process. So I do that. And I listen to, what do you call it? Mindfulness music, just calmness. Then I just put it by my side, and then as I'm listening to that, I'm able to go to sleep after I do the long night prayer. It's funny, my 6-year-old yesterday was telling me, "Mom, your prayer was not as long," and I'm like, "Go and sit down." It's like, you need to pray longer. So I guess he's measuring it now. So, but anyway, that just helps me to take care of myself mentally and physically.
Thank you so much, Dr. P. Can we give her some love in the chat? Keep the love coming, guys. All right. Dr. Hope, tell us about your daily self-care.
Okay, so what do I in the morning? First thing, I'm one of those people when I wake up, I have to go to the bathroom. That's like the first thing I have to do. As I'm getting up from bed to go to the bathroom. So I spend a little bit of time in the bathroom, but I do that, and I'm one of those people who takes the phone to the bathroom. But when I go there, I try not to look at any messages. As a physician, you're always on call, right? So I try not to look at any messages or texts. I've learned to kind of prioritize God in the mornings. So that's when I actually look into my YouVersion, my Bible app, look in my devotional, what I'm doing. So I use that time for that. So I might be in a little longer. This might be too much sharing. And then and then I come out and I actually do a prayer walk. So I have it's like soaking music where there are no words. It's just like worship instrumentals. So I play that and I go either outside in my backyard and use that as a prayer walk, or if it's too cold, because now it's getting cold in the morning and it's dark in the morning. So then I walk around, down the hallway, around the island. I kind of make use of my space, and I'm usually the only one up at that time. I get up really early, and I kind of use that time to center myself. Sometimes it's actually a time I'm processing, funny enough, what happened the day before, because sometimes I'm so tired at the end of the day, I fall right asleep. And so when I wake up and I'm doing that prayer work, I'm actually processing what happened, So I use that to kind of process with God what happened the day before. And it helps me kind of be aware of myself, really, be aware of my reactions, what I did, what I didn't do, why I didn't do it, and it's a good time to just take stock of where I'm at and do that prayerfully. Sometimes it's the tendency is for us to to be tempted to go spill it to somebody else, but I find it helps me when I am with God in that, because then you can really feel the nudging of a spirit, like, okay, let's talk about this, even though you might not want to talk about that, but let's talk about what you did or what you said, or how could you have done that better. So I do that in the morning, and then which I have fallen off. Usually I would have a time when I go to exercise. I had fallen off that because I was cutting short my prayer time or my time with God, because I was so focused on getting the exercise done that I was missing out on the prayer time. So I decided, I need to not make exercise my God, so to speak, and I had to focus more on God. So then that fell through the cracks, and I started trying to do it after work. And then there's always something after work. You have to pick the kid from school, or you have to go to a volleyball game, or there's always something. So I'm just starting to get back into exercising again, to kind of put that in. It's best if I do it in the morning and get it out of the way. That's how I think about it, so I don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. So I'm having to kind of put that back in and put a time and tell myself, you have 20 minutes. You can do 20 minutes of exercise. You can do 30 minutes of exercise. So I'm starting to put that back. And then I go shower and get dressed, and then I take my kids to school, and then I go to work. And that helps to kind of get me centered, because once work starts, it's like you opened this you know how it is. It's like, oh my God, you let everything in, the door's open. So I try to keep that door shut as long as I can, and just, settle myself before the door opens. And I'm like, oh, here we go. Okay. And yeah, but that definitely is very important for me in the mornings.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hope. Can we get some love in the chat for Dr. Hope's I was visualizing your day. I was tired already before you got to work. And so yeah, that's self-care. And I can relate to the bathroom. A lot of mothers, can you guys relate? A lot of mothers, it's not like we're just in there being nasty. We need to go to the bathroom and close the door. That's the only time we get some peace and quiet. So we go to the bathroom. It's like, I'm in the bathroom. At least they're not coming. I mean, sometimes they even come knocking on the bathroom. If you have young kids, can I use the bathroom in peace, please? So sometimes you have to escape to the bathroom and just be in there, right? So, hey, got to do what you got to do. All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Hope. And let's give it up for I'm prophesying in the house. She's not a doctor yet. All right, that's my younger sister, by the way. I think I just said a word. Her name is Olu Nifi. She's with Sweeter Juice Skin, and I'm going to formally introduce her when she does her next session. But yeah, Nifi, tell us about your self-care routine.
Amen. You are prophesying. Hello, everyone. Yeah, I think that for me, I just maybe in the last month, and Tubi knows about this, I just started joining in the morning this clubhouse room that's actually run by my parents. It starts at 5 a.m. And we've talked about how we don't really like conversations in the morning, all that stuff. But I find it as I'm waking up being something that really helps for hearing the word of God, being around people of God. So that's 5 a.m. So I'm still, I don't know if I'm all the way up. I'm kind of in the bed still. Sometimes I'm in my headset so I don't wake up husband. And I just recently trying to also incorporate working out. So I'm not gonna lie and act like I work out while I'm doing that because I'm mostly in the bed, but I'm working on it. And I do go downstairs and I'll have my ginger, a drink with ginger and lemon. And then when that's over at 7, I'll pray with my husband. And then that's really where we start our day. So my day changes depending on Mondays. Mondays is really my time for meditating and really getting direction from God. So he's down putting things for me for the week. So I'm not just going to jump in and start doing stuff, making calls, like checking emails, like a lot of people have said. So I'm focusing on that. And then, getting those ideas that's going to run through the rest of the week. Now for my nighttime routine, and I love that Dr. Rachel mentioned skincare. Yes, I definitely take my time to take care of my skin. And I think for me, that's just a wonderful time of relaxation, because if I don't do it in the morning, I'm going to be like, didn't I just tell everybody they have to wash their faces at night? And here I am with a face full of makeup and didn't do everything that I'm talking about. So it really does help, just to cleanse, feel like you're cleansed, just nourishing your skin, taking care of it, and doing all of that. So that's just a little, I don't want to take it too long, but just a little bit of mine. And of course, one routine I have with my husband is we have our favorite shows that we watch together. So right now it's The Voice. So we'll watch on Mondays and Tuesdays. And he even said that he'll sit in the workout room with me while I ride my bike. We haven't done that yet, but I'm like, that is the sweetest, most romantic thing ever. So I'm going to work out, because when I was single, that was actually the way I lost a lot of weight, was I would just watch my favorite shows and work out. So he was like, oh, I'll come, I'll sit down, I'll lay. So I will keep you guys posted on that when we do that, but that's mine. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Nifi, for that. I realized that I didn't say my nighttime routine, so I'm going to say it, okay? Do I have permission to say it? Everybody give me it's okay, Tums? Like I forgot to say my nighttime. So you guys just reminded me. So my husband's on this call. I think he can attest to this nighttime. I started doing it during my doctoral program. I do this evening, I forgot what I even call it, decompress. Which means, first of all, I work from home. And you guys will learn about it when I talk about my stuff later, but I just need to decompress. I don't want to think about anything past 8 o'clock. So, and sometimes my husband will start asking me questions about stuff for the business. I'm like, honey, I'm off. My brain is off. I don't want to talk about it. So I do a decompress, and I used to go upstairs 15, 20 minutes, which is decompress, which means I give myself permission not to think. I've been thinking all day. I don't want to think of anything. I don't want to be bothered, and I need everybody to leave me alone. So I will do that for like 15 to 20 minutes, decompress from a day full of information and emails and this and that and blah, blah, blah. I just give myself permission to not think. It's okay. And I started scheduling calls and emails. People are like, can we meet at 8:15? Absolutely not. My brain is not active at 8:15. I can make it active, but I choose not to make it active. I've been thinking all day. If our meeting cannot be during the day or in the morning, I cannot help you. So and sometimes, and one time I got an invitation to a party that started at 8. I'm like, My brain shuts off at 8. So anyway, you need, I really recommend some kind of decompress time for yourself, especially if you're a high impact lady, which looks like a lot of us are on here. High impact, we have to go hide off somewhere, decompress. And it's okay to tell your family, hey, I need this decompress time. My husband is with the gang now. He'd be like, where are you going? Oh, decompress time. Okay, peace out. So it's okay to let your family in on it, that this, you really, really, really need this time because you're doing so much all day long to decompress. All right. Are you guys enjoying the session so far? Can I get some love in the chat? Can we give some love to the full panel right now? We're going to go into a wonderful session right now. And we're going to give a raffle right after. We have some wonderful raffles, by the way. We're going to give some one. Yes, look at that love in the chat. McKenna, can we hear some love for some people that's on this panel? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Right now, we can unpin the rest of we can spotlight Nefi and remove the rest. We are going into a very special session, which is called, what is your skincare saying about your self-care? And I would love to introduce my baby sister, my only sister. I have some sisters and some sisters-in-laws, but this is my only blood sister. This is Nefi, Olu Nefi. All right. And we're a couple years apart. And she has a lovely skincare business called Sweeter Juice Skin. And she's very multi-talented and multifaceted. She has a lot of knowledge in other areas as well. But right now she has a very lovely company that she runs with her husband, Dr. Johnson Ofamata. And but she is the forefront of Sweeter Juice Skin. So I'm going to get out of here, let her take it away. And what is our skin telling us about our self-care? All right, get me out of here, McKenna.
Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to attempt to share my screen and hopefully that will show up as soon as I do that. Okay, let's go to our desktop and let me go into the presentation. I have that right here. Okay, and I think I see, Tubi, I can see your heads. Can you see my screen? You can just nod. Okay, cool, perfect. Okay, let me just go and present the slideshow. Okay, thank you, Dr. Tubi Big Sis, for that wonderful introduction. And so proud of you. Congratulations to this being your first self-care summit online. This is amazing. You worked really hard. Such an inspiration to me. So I'm sure we'll get a chance to talk more about that, but congratulations. And thank you for this wonderful panel. And thank you to all the other panelists. I'm not at home right now. I'm actually at the studios in Mesa. We have a business cohort for a core that I'm in. So it ended at 12 and I logged in and then I came back in. So I was able to catch the end of Dr. Hope's message. So thank you again. So yes, we're going to talk about what your skin is saying about your self-care. I'm going to change my view here. And let's go. Okay, so what we're going to cover today, I'll do a quick intro just to add a few more things that my sister, Dr. Tubi, mentioned. We're going to talk about your skin, says it all, the gut and skin connection, diet and digestion, and how inner issues show up on your skin, and then our suggestions for inner and outer beauty best practices.
Nefi, sorry, some people are saying they can't see the screen.
Okay.
Can everybody else see the screen? Can you give us a thumbs up if you can see the screen or not? I have a couple of people in the chat saying they can't see the screen.
Okay, so let me back out real quick and see. Is it because only the people that are speakers can see, or?
No, it's we're set to multiple participants can share simultaneously. So
Yeah. Here, let me stop it.
Somebody says
really
I see
quick.
the screen.
There we
Okay.
go. Now I'm trying to share it again. I stopped it. So
Okay.
now try it. See if it
Okay,
works.
sure. Thank you. Let me share. Go back to the presentation. Okay, can you guys all see it now?
I can see it.
Dr.
Okay.
Hope, can you see it?
I can't.
What? That's weird.
It is very strange.
Are you sharing to everyone?
I'm sharing, let me see. Your shared screen, oh, it says your shared screen can be seen by all participants now. Can you guys all see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so everyone, okay, perfect. Okay, So let me skip this one real quick. And we talked about what we're going to cover. So quick intro, like my sister said, I'm the founder and CEO of Sweeter Juice Skin. It's a holistic skin and wellness brand, and we're focusing on inner and outer beauty. So we're going to have products for internal ingestible supplements as well as topical skin products. It's co-founded by my husband, Dr. Johnson Ofamata. I'm a licensed esthetician and accredited makeup artist. I've been so for over 14 years. I'm also advanced cosmetic formulator, so I get to mix up our formulations. I'm currently a naturopathy diploma candidate. That's going to be a certification, but my sister prophesied. You can see some more later in the future. And I'm also a founding member of what we call the Beauty Conduit. And it's brown founders like myself, brand founders who are focused on supporting each other, whether it be in ordering supplies together, giving each other, sharing opportunities and so forth. I do have a master's of arts in communication, and I am a brand strategist and compliance marketer for other health, beauty, wellness, lifestyle brands. Okay. So yes, your skin says it all. I would say many of us know that the skin is the largest organ on the body, and your skin can be one of the first indicators that something is going on inside your body. I do want to preface to say this is not medical advice. I'm going to share my personal experience, some tips that I give my clients, and we have some wonderful doctors we can connect with, if we want to ask personal questions or get some more additional feedback. I know Dr. Hope is also very well versed in all of this. So I wanted to share a picture right away. So this is me looking fabulous and going out, got my hair done and my makeup and everything. These are only a few weeks apart, and I same weight actually. So, but on the left pic, I don't know if you can notice, I know I can. I'm not as bloated as I am in the face as I am on the right pic, right? And so what I noticed for my personal story is when I started taking care of my skin, I started seeing so many other benefits, right, that we're going to go into it. And so I just want to share some of these, what you're going to be experiencing, but our goal is really balanced, optimal skin. It's not perfection, right? So we're all going to see some challenges. I don't go crazy over getting a pimple or, actually right now I'm testing a lot of different products, and I'm just coming over a reaction. And I know other people have experienced that as well, but, it's not the end of the world. And I continue to when I test other products out of brands. So I want to go over some ways that what can show up on your skin if you're having some type of internal issue. Again, this is not medical advice, it's just experience and personal and what I've shared with other people. So let's say we're having digestive issues, right? How does that show up on your skin? And there's so many other ways, but these are just a few. I could not list all of them, right? But for me personally, I started having bloating, acne, acne. You can have rosacea, eczema, dull complexion, dark circles, dryness, oily skin, whiteheads, blackheads, psoriasis. So you can see a lot of different things just because you're having a digestive issue. Okay. What about lack of sleep? And if I could see everyone, I'd be like, how many of you guys want some more sleep? Have ever experienced that, right? But it can have an impact on your skin and your face, right? And your body. What is that? You could have dull complexion, puffiness of the eyes and dark circles, and much other things that can go on, right? Stress, how does that show up? A lot of times it's acne, eczema, dryness, psoriasis, oily skin, and so many other things. And it's also a personal thing. I've mentioned, I don't know if we'll be one of the other slides, but obviously genetics and our other things that are going on. And sometimes the medications or medical issues that are going on can also affect your skin. That's why you always want to make sure you are consulting your doctor or dermatologist to help you out with what's going on. Inflammation, how does that show up? Acne flare-ups, eczema, and so many other things, right? And then stress is caused by inflammation, right? And once you get, when you have stress, inflammation can come from that. And again, you're going to see acne, flare-ups, and eczema. So this one is just a fuller list of some of the complications you may be going on inside your body or you may be feeling, and the way that it's going to show up on your skin. So some of the other ones I mentioned, like let's say you have low energy, right? You can have loss of irradiance, mental clarity can cause, or lack of it can cause breakouts and flare-ups, low nutrient absorption. You could have brittle nails and hair and delayed wound healing, low vitamin D, which a lot of us face. And, you can have a rapid skin aging and skin infection and so forth. So why is that? Okay. Mostly what we're looking at is, I need to go to the other slide. Hold on, let me see. Okay. So there actually is, I can do this one. There actually is a gut-skin connection, okay? So we've heard about like the gut and brain connection, but between what's going on in our gut plays a very significant role in what's going on in the skin. As well, let's say you are breaking out. A lot of us may have to go to a dermatologist and then we'll find out there's some type of hormonal imbalance, right? So we can see, and we've known that there is a connection, okay? And one of those connections is the way in which we are actually digesting our food, okay? And we actually, this is why it's so important for self-care, really want to be in the most calm, relaxed state. When I'm making sure that I'm taking in food, obviously it's not just what I'm eating, but it's even how I'm feeling, right? And I don't know if you have ever, heard of like emotional eating. I'm sure you have actually, because I used to say that I'm an emotional eater. If I'm feeling depressed, I have to eat some ice cream. That's probably going to be one of the worst times if I'm not in a happy mood to have my favorite ice cream, right? So we're having a reaction within ourselves. And, when we're in a positive state, we're actually producing the correct, saliva production. And I don't want to really go into all the science behind, but I just left some notes there. And then there's something that we're called serotonin that we're also can naturally produce in our bodies. And a lot of people know about it. If it's low levels, you're going to have chronic pain, digestive issues. You may have those chronic stress or anxiety. But do we know that that actually affects your skin as well? So when you have the balanced, optimal level of serotonin, you're going to have more of a positive mood, better sleep, stress reduction, reduce stress-related skin issues, and you're going to have enhanced skin barrier functions and improved wound healing. So, but back again, you don't want to necessarily. I don't believe that there's like taking a supplement or anything to increase it. You really just want to take care of yourself, where you're just managing stress, sleep well, eating a balanced diet, caring for your skin. And it could be in the reverse, because there are some times when, let's say you were treating, having an antidepressant, it can actually increase the levels of serotonin and then can cause other skin issues like eczema, right? So when we're looking at that, what's going on in our body, we really just want to keep it as whole and balanced as we can versus, trying to do something beyond what our body can control. So the gut microbiome is what we focus on at Sweeter Juice Skin. And it's really just millions of microorganisms that are helping you. It's the good bacteria that you actually need to help with your digestion and not have that bloated face that I was showing you. And so how did I resolve that? We'll look into that, but that's really what we're studying and looking into, is that gut and skin connection, that when you're taking care of the inside and the outside, you can get the most optimal results, okay? So some of the inner beauty things that we can do to help ourselves. So we call it inner beauty and outer beauty. Of course, we know that we want to take the best whole foods, even really having a alkaline diet, a plant-based diet, is always encouraged. And then for me, I do go by my blood type, and I'm actually really good with protein as well, high protein. Ginger, as I mentioned, is one of the first things I take in the morning. It helps with my bloating, it helps with nausea, just helps me and cleanse, and some other perks, which is like helping me internally with some of the results I want for myself. Wild caught salmon is really good. 70% dark cacao or cocoa. Water, of course. Water is so important. And I used to say, I can't drink water. I don't drink enough water. But after learning more about it and seeing the benefits and seeing how great it is, honestly, better than even, we have teas, but better than tea, better than coffee, better than everything is drinking the amount of water that you need a day for everything, for your skin, for eternally. And it's just one of the best things that God created for us, right? So I also already mentioned alkaline foods, and sometimes like you may think a food is acidic, but when it gets into your body, it's probably working and helping you in your digestion. Okay, and then supplements, right? So that's one of the things we're working on, is different supplements that we will be able to offer, including probiotics, which was actually the key for me. I noticed the difference between my face 3 weeks from then was because I actually had ran out of my probiotics and I wasn't taking it, and I probably was eating stuff that was causing me to be bloating inside and not doing all the optimal things. And I could see a big difference with not much of a weight change. So those little changes in me were making that big difference. Okay. And then of course, multivitamins, making sure that you're getting that. When you talk to your doctor, you'll know what you're deficient in, and you'll know what you'll need to increase. For example, I know that a lot of African Americans are low on vitamin D. So, making sure that your levels and you're increasing that is important. And of course, vitamin C as well. So that's some of the inner beauty suggestions that we would do to make sure you have that optimal, balance internally. And then when we focus on supplements, what I love for myself is my probiotics, a supplement maybe that has omega-3 fatty acids, zinc, vitamin D, multivitamins, collagen, because as we age, we're losing that. I prefer a vegan collagen boost. And then if you're in need of some type of specialty, so like you are having brittle nails or brittle losing your hair, then we can look at biotin. Most of us truly, honestly, don't need additional biotin in our body, but if you're seeing that you are having that deficiency, you could take a supplement. But there is a such thing as taking too much of a good thing. So that's why it's always important to work with your doctor and get those recommendations. And then another specialty might be prenatal. So obviously so there's been some type of question, or do I need a supplement? Is it important? I've never heard anyone say to a pregnant woman that she doesn't need her prenatal vitamins. So, when you know your deficiencies and what you need, then what you need, right? So it's not a one fit all, but there are some things that we know, like our probiotics, making sure that we have enough of those good bacteria in us to help with our digestion is going to help us, right? And then herbal teas, can be very beneficial as well, because you're going to get some antioxidants, you're going to have some detoxing, what those benefits are, right? And then superfood powders. For example, you might get a green superfood powder that might have moringa, that's great for detoxing, antioxidant, and those things are always going to help and balance out. So what we try to do here when I do a lot of skin care consultants is make sure they're working with their dermatologist or doctor, seeing the root cause of why they're having this issue on their face, and then being able to proactively work on that. So sometimes it's going to be, let's say they have a hormonal imbalance, so they're breaking out. So what are we going to do internally first? Sometimes you do have to get a higher, stronger prescription, medication to handle that. But then you can also naturally take care of the things that are going on inside. And then what are the topical products that we're going to do, right? So probiotics, we'll go back to that, to topical in just a second. But for me, they do help with digestion, add good bacteria in our gut and our bodies. And it can help boost, your mood and cognitive function and reduce inflammation. So they're getting really popular. Everybody knows about them, but I think that if you're looking for a good one, you might want to, and you don't really, what they're called is CFUs, but you want to get at least 30 million to 50 million a day. And then the prebiotic is going to come in natural foods. And you can also get probiotic in natural food as well, right? So I take a lot of yogurt, I'll do a lot of like other things I can barely pronounce, like kimchi and all this other stuff that have some probiotics in there, and then fiber-rich foods that have the prebiotic. So that having that optimal balance is going to be the best way to have the results for your everything, your self-care, your skin, and what's going on inside your body as well. Okay, so some options that I always recommend when we're talking about outer beauty is getting a cleanser that works for your skin type. When I'm wearing makeup like today, I'll do a double cleanse where I'll do an oil-based cleanser, and then I'll do either a gel cleanser or a cream cleanser, depending on what I have and what's working on my face. And then, making sure if I need to repeat that, those steps, but not, again, one size doesn't fit all. You want to know, did you already wash all of your makeup off at night? You don't need to repeat those steps. I wouldn't do an oil cleanser in the morning because I already took off all of my makeup at night. And some people might not prefer it, so they want to use micellar water instead, right? For the double cleanse. I do believe in a double cleanse method, just because first, especially when I'm wearing makeup, I'm taking all of my makeup off first, and then I can go ahead and deep clean the skin gently, right? Then, you can moisturize your skin. One of the most important things, I'm seeing that down here, is sun protection, right? So, and no matter what your complexion, no matter how much melanin you have in your skin, sunscreen is very, very important. I always recommend my clients SPF of at least 30, and making sure you wear that, whether you're going outside or not, because we know, I live in Arizona, and so I could be inside all day, but that heat is still facing me. And so I'm experiencing all of that, right? And then what active serum do you need to target a specific concern? So we looked at some of the concerns before. Are you experiencing discoloration? Are you experiencing, excess of fine lines? So you want to look at for your specific target goal, there's going to be a serum, and serum just happen to have more active ingredients there. So it's going to be penetrating your skin more, and it's, that's something that you may want to use. For me, I may use like a vitamin C for antioxidant purposes, and then at night, maybe I'm going to use something I call dark spot killer that's going to get rid of my dark spots, right? I do exfoliate about 1 to 2 times a week, just to remove my dead skin cells. I use a Moringa detox mask, which also helps to detox my skin as well. And then, hydrating masks. So you might have something that maybe have a natural form of hyaluronic or the actual form itself. And then your environment, right, in your room, right? Is the air in your room benefiting your skin? Is there a humidifier if it's beneficial to your skin? Some people might use essential oils because they want that smell, just the whole environment. So we're looking at, what we put in our bodies, how we feel when we're eating, as well as what we're putting on our faces. Everything, you can't take one thing and say it's going to be the solution. And you can't say that one thing is not, like a lot of people say, I only use what's going on in my face, on my face, a topical product. I don't care about what's going on inside, or topical products don't work. But we know that, for example, sunscreen creates that barrier from the UAV rays and UVA and UVB rays. So you want to, protect yourself from the inside and outside, was going to give you the best optimal results. And if you're not knowing what the root cause is, you definitely want to consult with our dermatologist and your doctor. And I definitely recommend Dr. Hope. I know she's right here. I don't know if she wants more clients, but I think she does. But also, I think it's important for us just to remember that, this is not a, one-step thing. Everything is going to be working for you specifically, possibly, or, you want to know what's working for you. Even when you have a reaction, depending on how you're taking care of yourself internally, you might not have as much of a reaction to some of the things. In naturopathy, one of the founding doctors describes it as, what God has taken care, has created, as well as nature, and putting those two together to really give you the most optimal results. So I definitely believe in that. So this is a longer list, and don't worry about, keeping it. I'll be more than happy to share, and whether it's sending it to me or you guys can email me, I'll send this along to you just so you can see some of the complications, how they show up on your skin, and some of the solutions. This is not exhaustive. This is just a little bit of them because so many different things can happen. And again, like I said, this isn't something that I stress over, which can cause more issues, right? So if I wake up with a big old pimple on my head, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to backtrack and think, what did I do? Did I have a reaction? Did I put something in my body? What was the cause of that? And once I get to the root cause, I will understand the solution for it. Okay, and I think that's it. So I think I did pretty good too. So yeah, and that's my information right here. Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Can we give some love? Can we give some love in the chat for Olu Nifi with Sweeter Juice Skin? Yes, yes, yes. Let's get that applaud going. Let's give some love in the chat. Because of time, we are going to combine the two, and we're going to do the questions. I have a whole question and answer section that we're going to be able to ask questions from all, the ones that went ahead, and we're going to do our remaining raffles. So yes, how many people enjoyed that section? Yes, let's give some love in the chat for that. All right. Well, Nifi, while you're there, I realized I didn't even have anyone to actually formally introduce me. So since you know me the best, you know me the longest, go ahead while I get myself situated here. You're muted, I think. Can we hear you?
Yes, I just muted myself when I was talking. Sorry about that. So yes, okay, so it is time for my big sis, Dr. Tobi Akinlosotu. I actually wrote your bio for your, your graduation party. You should have told me. I would have had it up here and read the whole thing again. But very proud of her. Again, she has been really researching and doing this work for proactive methods, to improve on what's going on with your stress and your self-care. So what she's going to present today is something that you might have to take down notes, might have to, really take in what she's saying. So she does have her doctorate. She's also the founder of Finer Details, which is the premier event rentals, and she also started with You Can't Beat This Rentals. So her and her husband have this business for many years, and she has a wonderful testimony with what happened during COVID and her ability to go back to school to finish her doctorate degree. So like I mentioned a little bit, I'm just really proud because I was talking about you yesterday at an event. I saw Martez, the videographer that you introduced me to, and I was like, yeah, we're doing a self-care summit. She's got all these people registered. He's like, man, she's always at it. As soon as she switches, wherever she has in her mind to do, I always see such successful results. So I'm very proud of you, very proud to be your younger sister, and I'm excited to learn more today. So congratulations, everyone. Give it up for Dr. Tobi Akinlosotu. Woohoo!
All righty. Thank you, thank you, thank you. What? Liking that applaud. Are you guys even hearing this applaud? Thank you so much. You can on spotlight. Nifi, thank you so much for that introduction. I have a whole part of introduction for myself, so I guess I'll brief it a little bit. But yeah, are you enjoying yourself so far in the self-care summit? Can I get some love in the chat? Can we get some yay in the chat if you're enjoying yourself so far? It's already 1 o'clock. It doesn't even feel like it, huh? We're having so much fun. All right. So I'm going to do some technical stuff. Remember, stay tuned. There's raffles. There's things in the lobby. There's things in the exhibitor hall. So please make sure you're doing that. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Just a minute here. All right. So it says if I share the screen, that's okay. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Can you guys see my screen?
We can, yes.
Okay, all right. Awesome. All right, just a minute. All right, do you guys still see everything?
Yes.
We good? Okay. All right, like Nifi mentioned, just for the technicalities of everything, I'm Dr. Chibiak Nosotu. I am an educational and leadership consultant, business strategist, certified Christian life coach, resilience coach, and a self-care advocate. I am the CEO of Finer Details Luxury Events, and You Can't Beat This Rentals, and we'll get a little into that as well. Just like Nifi was saying, just a little bit about me that some of you guys might know, might not know. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I am a sister, I'm a CEO, I'm a lifelong learner. How many of you guys are lifelong learners? Can I get some? Are you a lifelong learner? I'm a lifelong learner. I'm a worshiper. You can see that picture of a worshiper there. I'm a coach. This is a picture of my lovely family. This is my parents, my husband. So family is everything to me. So that's just a little bit about me. And if you work with me, you'll get to know a little bit more about me. All right. So first of all, what I want to do right now is I want us, do you guys see this grocery list up here?
Yep.
Okay. So first of all, it's Saturday. The week is about to start. So I want you to just take a minute to make a mental grocery list of what you're going to get for the household this week. My section is a little bit interactive. I'm a very interactive person. So I will want some people to say some stuff or just put in the chat. What are you going to go to the store to buy? All right, for the grocery list. Just give you like a minute, think about that. Okay. Just for the sake of time, I'm going to move it along, but how many of you in the chat, when you begin to think of your grocery list, how many of you listed more items for other people than you did for yourself? And for some reason, I really can't see everybody in the chat. So if you listed more items than you did for yourself, this is usually what happens is we take care, we list other items for other people than we do for ourselves when it's time for us to go grocery shopping. The reason I use this example is because when I go grocery shopping, I will end up buying everything for the household, buying everything for my children and well, my adult children are gone now, my other child and my husband and stuff. And then I wouldn't buy myself anything. I was like, wait a minute, this isn't right. And this is part of the mentality of putting others first. So I know Dr. P had mentioned this example, but how many of you remember traveling and seeing this lady? Remember traveling and seeing this lady? So when it comes to being on the plane and they say, put your oxygen mask on, they ask you to put the oxygen mask on for yourself first before you put the oxygen mask for anybody else, right? And why do they ask you to do that? I mean, as a mother, the first time I heard this, I'm like, what? I mean, there's no way. If you have a little child next to you, your first instinct is to put the oxygen mask on for the child first. But if you don't put the oxygen mask on for yourself, you won't be alive to put the oxygen mask for your child or for the person sitting next to you. So that should tell us right away the importance of self-care. That if we don't take care of ourselves, we don't have enough. We don't have what it takes. We don't have the fuel to take care of others. So that's something I want you to just always think about as far as that oxygen mask. When they ask you to put that oxygen mask on you before you put it on someone else. All right, is anyone in here a fixer like me? And I like to see faces too. Like, is anyone in here, like, just give me a handshake, just put a hand, are you a fixer? Who likes to fix things? Like, you like to fix the boo-boo, the mistakes, and everything else around you? Yeah, I know there's some fixers on here. And of course because we're nurturers, right? But the problem is that whenever we're fixing everything around us, we don't have the energy. We run out of the fuel, like I said, to fix ourselves. we become exhausted, we become emotionally tired, we're physically tired, we're overcommitted because we're fixing everything around us. And this is also known as being a perfectionist, okay? This is something that I struggled with, and thank God that he's helping me with that. But this is one of the things that could be hindering us with our self-care. So I kind of preluded to what I'm really going to talk about today is the enemies of self-care. So I want you to think of what I like to call the enemies of self-care. I want you to kind of think for yourself, what are some of the enemies? We've heard so many things about self-care today. What are some of the things that are standing in the way of your self-care? Can you drop it in the chat right now? What are some of the things standing in the way? And I'm trying to see how I can see the chat. Here we go. Oops. What are some of the things standing in the way of your self-care? Just go ahead and drop it in the chat. Someone said myself, self, people-pleasing, time. Yeah, what's guilt? Ooh, yeah, someone's my mindset and give me permission. Schedule. Yes. Yep, you guys are on it, what I'm going to talk about today. Okay. Some enemies of self-care. So the enemies of self-care are mindset, time, guilt. And this is my list. All right. Perfectionism, being that fixer. All right. So let's get into it. So let's talk about mindset. Before you do anything, you have to have the correct mindset. And there's two different types of mindsets. Okay. For every change you make in life, it starts with the mindset. All right. You can't make any changes. If you're not willing to try new things. If you have to have a growth mindset, willing to try new things, willing to try different strategy, willing to let go of things that don't work. This is a growth mindset. When you have a fixed mindset, you're always, this isn't going to work. Can't do it. It's too hard. And that's where some people say, yeah, self-care, self-care, self-care. You guys always say that. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. That's a fixed mindset. So when you start with a growth mindset, then you can start making some improvements in your self-care. Another enemy of self-care is time. How many of you guys said time in there? All right. This is one of the biggest enemies of self-care. I don't have time. I'm too busy. I'm too tired. I'm too overwhelmed. Time is always a factor. But let me ask you guys this. How many of you guys have been to a restaurant in the last month? Write me in the chat. If you've been to a restaurant in the last month, because some of you guys can't see, write me in the chat. All right. So we don't have time to meal prep, right? Like, let's say meal prepping is one of the things that's important to our health, but we don't have time. But we'll go to a restaurant. Now, in the restaurant, depending on if it's a very good restaurant, you're going to put your name on the list. You're going to wait for about 15, 20 minutes up to an hour or so to get seated. The waiter or the waitress is going to come ask you what you want to drink. Then they're going to bring your drink, and then they're going to bring your food. They have to make the food. Then you're going to eat. Then you're going to wait for them to bring your check. Then you're going to write your tip. How long do you think that takes? So the time, because a lot of stuff say, I don't have time to cook. I don't have time to meal prep. I'm just going to go to a restaurant. But if you look at it, the time you spent at the restaurant, you probably could have meal prepped all your meals for the whole week. So there's ways that we can buy back time. We say we don't have time, but we actually do have time. We have time for what matters. We have time for what we have time for. All right. So let's change our mindset on time. There is time. We just have to shave off time from somewhere else. Instead of going to a restaurant 2 times this month, I'm not going to go to a restaurant. I'm going to use that time to meal prep. You just got your time back. All right. Another enemy is guilt. Some of you guys wrote guilt in there. You have a guilty, I feel guilty dropping the kids at the babysitters to have self-care. I feel guilty leaving them at home. I feel guilty. What's everybody going to eat? Feeling that guilt that you don't deserve to have that time for yourself, for that time for self-care. That is an enemy. So let me just tell you guys a little bit about my life. So I run an intense business. You guys can all see the video. Finer Details Luxury Events. I've had to find different ways. I remember when I was running an intense business, scheduling staff. Sorry, this is trying to do video at the same time. Scheduling staff and, you know, running a business and being in a doctoral program. I even found time to watch my nephews and my kids during the summer. This was a very stressful and overwhelming time where so many things were on my plate, running several businesses, doing so many things. You know, to say I was overwhelmed was an understatement. You know, I had to perform, I had to put on a smile, I had to be all for everything. I had to always be on call, as in, you know, those are people that are doctors. I'm not a doctor, but being on call where people are always texting you, people are always calling you, people are always emailing you, always having to show up, always having to smile, even when you didn't feel like. Has anyone ever felt so overwhelmed and exhausted, but you still feel like you had to push through? Can you put a me in the chat? If you've ever felt so exhausted, so emotionally drained, yet you still have to put on a smiling face, show up at work, show up at school, show up at even church, wherever you're expected to perform. And that was me. I was doing everything, and I'm known as that. Someone said superwoman in there. Yeah, I'm known as for that superwoman. I also used to have anxiety, always worrying, trying to overplan. Anyone ever felt anxious? Yeah. This quote really put in perspective for me. Anxiety is practicing failure in advance. Let me say it again. Anxiety is practicing failure in advance. Seth Godin said this. So I began to think that, you know what? I've spent a lot of time on this anxiety. I spent a lot of time thinking and worrying. I also remembering why this title came up, Celebrate Yourself. I remember feeling like I had to wait for people to celebrate me. Now, I'm not saying the people in my life don't take this, people do celebrate. But like I said in the beginning of my message, when I first started, everybody likes to be celebrated different ways. Some people want to be celebrated with words of affirmation. Some people want to celebrate gifts. Some people want to be celebrated different ways. And when I started to realize that I need to stop waiting for people to celebrate me. And I said to myself, it's time to celebrate yourself. Yes. Somebody say, celebrate yourself. Celebrate yourself in the chat. We have to sometimes celebrate ourselves. All right. And not always wait for someone to celebrate us. So I remember, like I said, waiting for people. It all changed in my program. I did my dissertation. My dissertation's title is on building resilience to stress and burnout. And in my study, I came out with proactive coping strategies, and I started to use them on myself. That's when I decided to put into practice some of the strategies for my dissertation. I started to become proactive. I began to journal. I began to set my boundaries. And my sister and some other people attest to this. I'm always talking about setting my boundaries. I believe some other people are following the bandwagon now. Setting your boundaries. You know, I have a calendar. I have, you can't just bounce on me. You know, I had to set my boundaries to the point where I wasn't, because I actually began to burn out. Why did I pick a topic to write about burnout? When I was a teacher for several years and I was feeling burnt out. And then I thought maybe it was just a teaching career. And then I got into another career and I was feeling burnt out. I'm like, this burnout thing is real. What is causing burnout? You know, stress causes burnout. And when we know the things that the stress, we know what things are stressful. We know what things lies ahead. So we can prevent burnout. Burnout is like the last stage. We can prevent burnout by understanding the stressors that trigger us to be stressed. And so we can understand those, and then we can be proactive against them. So that's why I created the self-care and coping journal and planner that Dr. Hope talked about. She has one, and several people on here have one. So thank you for purchasing. McKenna's going to put a link in the chat. I have a special sale today For anyone for the summit, you get 15% off. Summit 1028 is a coupon code. So we'll take care of that afterwards. But if you want to get on that, starting to journal, and starting to plan your day, it's going to be awesome. Now, these are some of the proactive habits from my study. And I am on a trademark thing for this. So I kind of put my stuff together and came up with a proactive coping checklist. So I need to start putting the TM up there. So be positive, set boundaries, which I talk about, getting enough rest, reflecting on past experiences. A lot of times I've seen people where they've been through something and they keep going through it over and over again. Have you guys remember that quote that when you keep doing the same thing over and over again, I don't want to say that here, it's like beyond stupidity when you do the same thing over and over again. Sometimes when we do the same thing over again, we say, oh, I thought you just did that yesterday. You did that last year. You did that last month. So when you reflect on past experiences, you're like, oh, I've been through this before. Now I know how to handle it. It helps you to plan ahead, which is the next one. Unplugging from social media. Sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you just want to relax, get on your phone, and next thing you know, there's so much stuff out there on social media that gets you stressed out. You want to find a time to meditate, to pray, to worship, listen to soothing music, exercise, like Dr. Hope and others have talked about. And Dr. Baling going for her marathon walks. Journaling, eating healthy, seeking support, very, very important. There's nothing wrong with seeking support. And if you ever feel like you're at the point where, I really, really can't take this anymore, I will be honest. There was times I sat on the kitchen table and cried. I've been overwhelmed because people see me as a superwoman, which I thank God for the grace. But sometimes where I didn't have sometimes that where to pull from, because everybody always expects me to have all the answers. And when you're running and running and running and running and running and running, sometimes you get to that wall and you get overwhelmed. So there was times I used to sit on the kitchen table and cry. But then I snapped out of it and I said, you know what? I need to start putting into practice what's in my dissertation, being proactive. Once I began to be proactive against the things that causes my stress, I started to see a huge difference being proactive. And sorry, I was just talking, these slides are in no particular order. So this is the proactive self-care and proactive journal. And it was carefully created and crafted by me based on my study to help you to put in place proactive measures for your daily care. It has a section for your morning, section for your evening, gratitude. It has some affirmations, and then it has also your planner for the week and for the weekend. And on the weekend, I purposely put activities so that you can actually take time to do activities. Okay, speaking of journaling, can all of you see this letter on the screen? Because right now you're gonna have to do something. Give me a thumbs up or put a thumbs up in the chat if you can see. All right. So I want you to take a minute and read this to yourself. Take a minute and read this to you. This is a love letter to you, to self. I see how you take care of everyone else, how you strive to be a great wife, daughter, sister, friend, and person. I see your heart, and I see how much you love and care. Your needs sometimes get thrown away by the wayside because you're too busy looking out for everyone else. I see that sometimes you don't feel appreciated. You feel the weight of the world on your shoulders. Self-love is easy to forget when life throws so much your way. Therefore, this is a reminder to love yourself. This letter is for you. Yes, you. I see your strength, determination, and kindness. I also see your pain. Some days you just want to hide under the covers and never get out of bed. Somehow you always find a way to get up and keep on going. I see how tired you are from juggling all of life's responsibilities, the mortgage, the bills, the jobs, the business, the kids, organizing, scheduling, cooking, cleaning, planning activities. The list goes on and on. I see you. So now, write a short letter, love letter to yourself. It only has to be one sentence because we don't have much time. Put your name on it. But I encourage you guys to write a love letter to yourself. So go ahead and write a short one sentence. And if you're feeling bold enough, this is a lovely, intimate group of ladies. You want to put it in the chat. Go ahead and write a short sentence to yourself, a love letter to yourself, a love sentence to yourself. Know that you are loved. Now prove it. Know that you are loved. Can I hear, put a prove it in the chat for me? Prove it. Probably interrupting your train of thought right now, but write a love letter to yourself. Prove it right now that you love yourself. We've talked about this. We've been on here for a few hours. We've talked about, Dr. P talked about loving yourself. We've talked about your skincare. We've talked about your screenings. We've talked about everything that you can do to show love to yourself. Now, if you can't spare 30 seconds or a minute to write a love sentence to yourself, I challenge and I ask you, do you really, really love yourself enough to take time to do something for yourself? This is for you, not for anybody else. Take the time, write a sentence. Someone said, it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to struggle and grow. You're a strong, powerful woman and you hold so much value. I promise to choose you every day, to choose us. Isn't that lovely? That's a letter to herself. I encourage you to write a letter to yourself. Investing in yourself is telling yourself that you believe that you can do all things and prove it. Now you have to prove it. If you believe that you can do all things, say, I believe in the chat. If you believe that you can do all things, put I believe in the chat right now. Yes, yes, yes. See one person putting I believe. Where are we today? Do you believe that you can do all things? All right. So now I want to talk about some resources that are available for you. Sometimes we believe we can do all things, but we don't have the resources. So I don't know if everybody saw in the lobby, it's also in this session, there's a self-care toolkit, and hopefully you download that. It has a lot of lovely things in there for your self-care. And I'll also email it out, but if you go into the lobby, you'll see that self-care toolkit. Yes, I just want to read a couple more of this. It says, I give myself grace for all my faults, but I choose to love me through all my weaknesses. My past achievements and every trial overcame is a testimony for me to keep believing in me and forgiving me and never give up. I love that. I love that. Thanks everybody for your vulnerability to write this. Someone said you are worth so much more than you give yourself credit for. You deserve the time to invest in yourself so that you can grow into who God needs you to be. Aren't these lovely letters to ourselves? Dr. Precious says, I love you, even if the whole world does not. No matter to me, I will always care for you and about you. How does that make you feel when you write to yourself? I encourage you to do this more. Like I said, you can get that journal. It's going to be on sale just for you guys showing up. 15% off. Put in the code SUMMIT1028. There is a section every week for you to journal. There's a shopping list. There's your screenings calendar in there. There is your planner. It's a 2-in-1 journal and it's undated. It's undated. So if you fall off a couple times, you can go right back to it. All right. I have a free masterclass coming up. It's called Empowered. Now that we've been given the tools, you can walk in your purpose. It's November 2nd. It's at 1 p.m. It's free. There is limited seating. So if you want to join that, go ahead and click in the link. McKenna has put it in the chat to reserve your spot for the free master class. I'm going to be teaching on that. I'm going to be, I don't want to give it away. It's going to be an awesome time. And this is also part of that commitment to make time for yourself. You're like, oh, 1 o'clock. Some of you, I can't make it. Take time, schedule your lunch break, take some time to be at this. It's 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time for your free master class. In that master class, we're going to begin to see yourself the way God sees you. Build, regain your confidence, drop limiting beliefs about yourself and your talents. Begin to set healthy boundaries in your life and prioritize your mental well-being. Discover your God-given purpose, overcome rejections with grace, and break limitations and live your most enjoyable life. Doesn't that sound amazing? Can I get some love in the chat? If that sounds amazing. If you want to be around like-minded women, just like today, you want some more of this, I have several other people that are not on this that will be joining us for the masterclass to come in here. I'm also, because I said I'm a business strategist, I'm a resilience coach. So this is the beginning of the masterclass is to, first of all, we got to get to the root of just understanding your purpose. Some people want to discover their God-given or uncover your God-given purpose. You probably know, but there's so many things piling on top that you haven't uncovered it, and be able to walk in your purpose and be able to have that resilience that you need. So if you're interested in that right now, just go ahead and scan that on your screen. Also, McKenna has put the link in the chat, and I think she'll keep dropping that link. And it's also in your survey. Don't forget your survey. McKenna's also going to drop that in the chat. Fill out the survey. The masterclass info is also in the survey, in case that was too fast for you to join us for that masterclass. And I am going to stop my share because I just want to look at you lovely people. How many of you guys got something from that? Can I get some? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you got something from that. All right. Lots of information. If you got something from all of our participants today, we're going to open up. We're going to be going into a question and answers and some takeaways here shortly. But I want to answer a few questions that were asked earlier. And somebody said, how do you know if you're getting burnt out? Somebody said that, and I want to answer that question. Burnout is real. And many times we avoid and we ignore the signs of burnout. When you become emotionally exhausted, you begin to pull away from people. You just kind of show up as a shell. You're just there. You just kind of smile, but you don't feel. You withdraw from people. You very cynical. And burnout also shows out in physical manifestations as well. Burnout, because of the stress, burnout is tied to a lot of sicknesses and a lot of diseases. You might get headaches, you might get hives, stomach issues. For women, when you get burnt out because your stress level, because your hormones, it may affect your menstrual cycle. So many things are attributed to stress and burnout. So it's extremely important that we understand how to be proactive in our quest for avoiding burnout. So there's a difference between proactive and reactive. Many people wait until stress happens and then they react. I'm stressed out, I react. I'm stressed, I react. But when you're proactive, you already know that things are stressing you out. You already know what's on your plate for the week. And that is why I created the journal. It comes with this lovely box. And every week, there's actually a section in there for you to check off your proactive coping checklist. So you can say every week, am I being proactive in my daily self-care? There's things that you already know that's going to come up. Like planning ahead, when you plan ahead, you plan for those things. So every week you check off in your planner. And that was one of the checklists that I had up there. Every week, you check off. And some weeks you might not have them all, but it just serves as a reminder to keep checking them off and keep checking them off. And you know the things that stress you out. But when you're proactive, when you set boundaries, when you separate, like those of you that are business owners, I'm a business owner, I have to separate my work and my personal email. I have to separate my phone calls so that people don't just call me all the time on my thing. I have to set boundaries of what I can and cannot do. You have to set boundaries in a loving way, even sometimes with your family. Don't be overcommitted to things that you can't do, that you don't have the capacity. We can do all things, yes, but when you're feeling your fuel is low and you don't have the capacity. That is why when you are proactive in your self-care, when you do those things, it's like a war. How many people go to a war and they're not prepared? It's like a war out there. When they want to prepare for the war, they have their gear on. They're like, working out and doing everything way ahead of time before the war. So you are like putting on your armor. There's a war out there. Part of that armor is to wake up early, to go into your worship, to your meditation, to say those affirmations to yourself, to journal, to eat healthy, to plan your week. You are doing all these things in a proactive way so that you can avoid the stressors ahead. So when those stressors come, you have your shield up, your armor up, you've built up that armor that they can't affect you the same way anymore. But see, when you don't have time for those proactive things, when you didn't get enough sleep, you didn't eat right, you didn't exercise, you didn't journal, everyone's pulling at you left and right. You get to the end of the week, you're barely making it, you're exhausted, you don't even know if you want to take a shower. You just want to get through the day. Then you're holding everything in, and then all of a sudden that comment comes in or something that wasn't even meant to throw you off, and you lose it and you blow up, or you either yell or you cry. This is you're burnt out, you're overwhelmed. We didn't see those things coming. We didn't plan for those things. So when you plan for those things ahead of time, those stressors cannot affect you. Stress will always be there. It's your reaction to the stress that matters. Stress will always be there. It's how you respond that matters. You could be bothered. You could be unbothered. I also have another masterclass that I'll be holding after that, but I won't confuse you guys. But that one's called Unapologetically Unbothered. Power of Resilience. Because when you have resilience to these things, a lot of people wonder, some of you guys know my story. I was a single mom, had 2 children, was in school, would put those kids to sleep, would wake up in the middle of the night, study, drop them at daycare, do all this, work 2 jobs, work 3 jobs, do everything I needed to do. That was before my husband came along. Then even when I was a single mom, I had my own business as well. I started Sophisticated Catering. So not only was I a mom, I had a business, I was in school, I was juggling all these things at the same time. So I know a thing or two about resilience. Going through a program, I have a long story, I have some other stories. And the reason why I've been able to, give it all glory to God, but been able to overcome a lot of these things is because of resilience. And I know we're Nigerian, a lot of Nigerians have that resilience, but when you go through life, when you go through obstacles in life, you have 2 choices. You can allow life to swallow you up, or you can build the resilience so that when those things come up against you next time, you're ready for it. So basically right now, there's a lot of things that come up and I can't really be bothered right now. I just need to pray about it, put in God's hands. Some things bother me, but there's some things that are just out of my control. But once you build up that resilience, how do you build the resilience? Do you know that resilience is a skill that can be learned? How many of y'all know that? Some people feel that you just have to be resilient. You can learn to be resilient. And I have that in my toolkit. I have a resilience cohort, 6 weeks. I go in depth on how to build resilience. It's called Overcoming Obstacles. So building resilience is a skill that can be learned. And let me tell you, one of the things I've noticed, it doesn't matter what job you have, what career you have, what position you have. You cannot keep it going without resilience. I have seen so many people start something, stop it, start something, stop it. They have the greatest ideas. What's stopping them? Why do you start and stop? Why do you start and stop? Why do you give up so easily? Resilience isn't there. They're not, when challenges come up, they give up. This skill can be learned. When you learn the skill of resilience, you're going to overcome so many more things in life. You're going to be able, you'll see that you become more successful. Why? People are like, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're doing that. Yes, I am. Because I have resilience, and I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm not going to worry about negativity or the naysayers or those limiting mindset or those limiting beliefs. I'm going to drop those limiting beliefs. There's so many limiting beliefs in your mind saying, I can't do this. I'm not good enough. I don't have enough money. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not skinny enough. I'm not this enough. Begin to drop those limiting beliefs. Begin to believe in yourself and say, I can do all things. Yes, I can do all things. My dad always says, no, they don't have two heads. Everybody has one head. So if everybody has one head, whatever they can do, you can do as well. What's stopping you from doing it is your mindset, fear, guilt, people pleasing. All of these negative things that are attributing to your stress that are going to make you burn out. Because if you're a people pleaser, you're all over the place. Would you like to come here? Yes. Would you like to come here? Yes. Your schedule is now overcommitted. You're trying to commit to everything you overcommitted yourself to without hurting everyone's feelings. And then what do you do now? You check out. You don't want to tell anybody no. You just check out. You just stop responding to text messages. Just turn your phone off. You just disappear. That's your solution. How many people tracking with me? Sometimes you do this, let's be honest. Sometimes you're just overwhelmed. You're like, I just can't right now. Cannot answer all these text messages. But if we didn't overcommit ourselves, we would be at a better position. So that is what the skill of resilience is. So if you want to learn more about this, join my masterclass November 2nd, 1 p.m. And you can go to the website for more information. I do have individual coaching sessions as well. I do have other masterclasses coming up, but this particular masterclass is free. It's free. There's limited seatings, 1 p.m. It's virtual, so there's no excuses. It's just like this on Zoom. It's on virtual. It's 2 hours long. It's from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So McKenna will drop the link again in the chat for that to register for the masterclass. And at this time, I am going to open it up for questions and answers. And I'm going to open it up for some takeaways. And this is for all of the sessions combined. But first, we'll start with my session, and then we'll go backwards just because some people are forgetting some things, or it's kind of a lot of information. How many people have been just blessed by everything that's been going? Can we get some love in the chat? If you've just been enlightened and you've been encouraged and you've been given a lot of great information today, can we get some love in the chat? Yes, let's blow up that chat. Yes, yes, yes. Are we still awake? Are we still awake? You made it, you made it, you made it. It's 1:40. Type in the chat, I made it. I made it. Type it in the chat if you made it. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, it's 1:40. We're here. We're 15 minutes away. We're going to have some wonderful raffles. We're giving away right now. Let's wake up ourselves right now. Wake up ourselves right now. We're going to give some wonderful raffles away. But before I do the raffle, any questions? McKenna, please be on the lookout for any questions. Just unmute yourself and just let's do this. Any question you have, just go ahead and unmute yourself one at a time. Ask the questions. Any questions? If you want to put it in the chat or if you want to just unmute yourself. All right. Looks like some people are tired. There's not a lot of questions. I'm assuming there's no questions. There are questions in the Q&A section. Where's the Q&A section at?
At the
Oh,
top of
the
the
top of. What did you say?
is at the top of
At
the
the
Zoom
top of
where
the
it
Zoom.
says, leave, and then it has Q&A.
McKenna, can you read out those questions, please? And
All
I'll
of the
just-
ones that I see have all been answered.
All right. Yeah, we've been trying to answer them as we go. If you have any other questions, this is your opportunity to go ahead and ask it now. If you have any questions of any of the other participants, panelists, can we see the panelists? Can we spotlight them to the front? This is the time to ask questions from any and all of the participants and the panelists. Can we get you guys to the front, please?
There was a question in there about, somebody asked about vitamin D.
Vitamin D, I'm going to hand that over to Dr. Hope. What's the question about the vitamin D?
It said, let me see, I think it was from Buki. It said, I think she asked for Dr. Hope, what foods are excellent for vitamin D? I'm indoors most often. I don't like sunbathing, so to speak.
Okay, actually for vitamin D, unless the food is fortified with vitamin D, you don't find vitamin D in foods usually. Vitamin D we get from the sun. So if you're not outside and you want to take a vitamin D supplement like Nifa suggested during her presentation, you want to add that to your supplements. Funny thing is a lot of people in Arizona where it's so sunny, a lot of us are low in vitamin D. So you want to make sure you're getting that vitamin D supplement, but also make sure your levels are being checked by your doctor so you're not getting too much of the vitamin D either.
All right, thank you for that. Somebody asked Dr. P, what is mindfulness music?
There are so many, there's like, I have an app, there's a lot of mindfulness app, is just really a very slow, there's just a background music where it allows you to be able to focus on yourself, even hear yourself breathe. That's been interesting because we're so busy and just going that sometimes we don't even know how many toes we have. We can't even recognize our own fingers. I think it's just really slow, very concentrating music that helps you to focus on yourself. That's just what it is. Mindfulness is really what it is being mindful, like recognizing you at that point, paying attention to your breathing in, breathing out, and removing every other thing that is happening around you. So whatever that is to you, some people just like to use some of the music they find in the apps. Some people just shut off everything, turn off the light and focus. So different people do different things, but I just go with those music.
All right, thank you, Dr. P. And I also just asked McKenna, because I don't know if anybody in the lobby, and did anyone hear some of that music in the beginning? I don't know if it's called mindfulness or not, but those are some calming musics that is available for you to download too. McKenna, can you play a sample of that music? right, so how are you guys feeling?
Great.
Feeling good? Those are the kinds of music, I mean, I use some of that. I listen to worship, but sometimes we just want to hear words. And this is available. Everybody can download it. It's in the lobby. It's on a PDF. Just download it. And if you want a specifics playlist as well, I can email it to you. I have some different playlists. I paid for the extra YouTube premium where they don't make commercials in the middle of your song. So if you want some of those, but those are the kind of things. Sometimes you just want to listen to something slow and calming and not hyper. You know, I know this generation, that's probably not going to work. They probably won't, that's probably what gets them all roused up. But, you know, we need some soothing music, you know. So if anyone has any, I'm going to get together with the panelists too and get some combined resources to email out to everybody that was part of this as well. But don't forget about that self-care toolkit that's in the exhibitor hall. And also, I think it's on several pages and there's some information in there as well. All right, is there another?
I was going to add something. If you work in an office environment too, I put those, like if I have to catch up on emails or when I'm just working on something that there's nobody in the office with me, I also put those music. It also calms me in the middle of the day. And then I plug in my diffuser and just add some oil. So just, you can do this anywhere. Doesn't have to be at home too.
Yeah, I actually use a lot. I have this deep focus music I use when I used to use it when I was writing my dissertation. I used to use it with students. Music has actually been taught, it's been researched to waken up the brain, but you have to use the right kind of music. So there's a deep focus music on YouTube that I play when I'm writing and thinking, when I'm doing a lot of tasks. So music is something that you can use, and we can share those resources. Okay, any other questions? What is a great vitamin juicer combination for energy and memory? Vitamin juicer combination. I know I have a juicer that I use, the NAMI juicer, and I think Dr. P uses juices. I don't know if that's the question you're asking. Monique, you're asking about vitamin juicer combination for energy and memory? I don't know if anybody has an answer to that. I know that turmeric is good, ginger is good. I'm not a medical doctor, I don't know, but you just, a lot of your herbs and natural foods, if you can juice them, is better than just, I spent like what, $600 or $700 on the top juicer just to extract all of those things. I do like my ginger and turmeric, I'll do my blueberries, I'll do strawberries, all those strong antioxidants, lemon, pineapple, and put it all together and then just put it, and you can prep that during the week and just put it in bottles like mason jars or bottles, put it in the fridge. And I'll tell you, my husband's like, why are you juicing next? It's so exciting. I made it for my mom. She loved it. It's like, you just, like my ginger turmeric one is like so powerful, ginger, turmeric, pineapple, some ingredients. And you want to be careful with turmeric. Maybe Dr. Hope can elicit, you don't want too much turmeric. It can cause digestive issues and it can, be hard on the liver. So you just want to be careful that you're not taking too many milligrams of turmeric. Because I was taking a whole bunch of turmeric at one point and I was like, ooh. So I had to calm down on that turmeric. And always do your research too. Ask your primary care and do your research. Don't just always take stuff without looking, especially a lot of supplements. I'm a very big researcher person. Nobody can give me anything. I got to research it. So research the labels, research what it's all about. It's so funny because I used to just read Google. Now that I have, because of Dr. But now that I have my dissertation, I read published scholarly articles on it. I'm like, I go to Google Scholar and look it up, read a whole article. And I'm like, geez, I never knew this was a thing to sit here and read like 4 articles on one ingredient. But anyways, I will read up articles and articles on something before I put it in my body. All right. So do your body justice and do that. Dr. P.
I think it's important. I know you touched on it all. For me, most of those citric juices, just because of antioxidants. And then ginger is a very, very good one. That thing is powerful. But like Dr. Tubi was saying, the most important thing is really always reading the labels. It comes from me being a pharmacist. It's always good to read the labels, always. Know what you're taking. There are some products, there are some of those fruits that can also impair some of the other things going on in your body. I am, for instance, my blood pressure is always like just normal, if not a little bit like under, you know, so things like beets added in juice. I had a family here that before they left, they made juices all the time for me before I leave in the morning and when I come back. And then I had it, you know, my blood pressure dropped. So you just have to research, learn, and the list of every single thing you're putting in your juice. Outside of those citric juices, some of those other ones might have like some effects in your body. So then I was like, is there beets in this? And it will significantly within 5 minutes drop your blood pressure. So there are some things you need to know. So research it based on your own health. So that, and I know Dr. Ajaola is here, so she can also talk about that, but it's important to research, especially the roots and the herbs, so you don't affect other aspects of your life. Just saying.
All right, thank you, Dr. P. Dr. Hope, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I agree. As much as, but the thing to watch out is like Dr. Tubi said, everything in moderation. You don't want to do too much of anything. Sometimes some of the natural foods may have even sodium that's high. So you want to, there are things like olives are very high in sodium, pickles are high in sodium. So you want to watch out for anything that you're having and just make sure the amount is moderate. You don't want to have too much of it. Also, if you're juicing fruits, for example, there are some sugary fruits. So certain fruits have more sugar than others. So you want to be careful as well about that, because sometimes I find a lot of people will come in and they're juicing all the time and they don't understand why their blood sugar is high. And then you find out what they're juicing is, you know, pineapples and bananas and peaches and, you know, all the mangoes and all the sweet fruits. And by the time you finish, that little mason jar of juice is loaded with sugar. Even though it's a more natural form of sugar, it still is digested, metabolized to glucose in your body. So you want to always balance it out with vegetables so that you don't have too much fruit in what you're juicing, and switch to the lower sugar fruits like berries. So like strawberries, blackberries, those have lower sugar than mangoes, for example. So you want to switch to the lower sugar fruits if you can tolerate it. Or if you have a high sugar fruit, have just that. Don't add more fruits in whatever you're choosing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr.
I have
Hope.
a question.
Bukola, what's your question?
Okay, it's for Dr. Nefi. And my question is, I normally get hormonal acne, like, so a week before my period, that's usually when I break out. And, you know, does Dr. Nefi have like suggestions on, or is it possible? How can I combat hormonal acne so I don't break out?
Okay, first of all, ask Dr. Hope, the real doctor. Okay, but I'm going to answer the other question about energy. For me, actually, we're just testing ashwagandha, which is an adaptogen that you can add to your supplements, right? And then that was helping with ashwagandha, mushroom, and then reishi. And we actually are working with a manufacturer that does the testing to make sure that it's actually a proper, you know, form of the ingredient and with the toxins and all that. And I was helping a friend that actually has a juicing company called Pure Juice and Joy in Tempe. She's looking to create an adaptogen. So, you know, it is important to not only, you know, look at the ingredients and look what you're where you're getting it from, and make sure they're doing their testing as well to make sure it's an actual real one. Because she got one at the dollar store. She was like, it doesn't taste the same. Now for the reasons for, no, honestly, I would love Dr. Hope to answer that, because as an esthetician, you know, what we do is I can see what is happening on your face and I can recommend you. And I would always recommend you go back to your doctor, go back to your dermatologist, and then, you know, we can handle what's going on. When you find out the root cause, we can handle what's going on inside and then the topical solution. And, you know, I have my dark spot killer that has been, you know, resolving a lot of these dark spot issues for people because it's a result of breaking out, right? But you want to prevent that. So you have to look at yourself. What are you eating? You know, what hormonal changes are going on? So you definitely want to get seek more advice for that. So Dr. Hope, do you want to have anything else to add?
Yeah, Buki, what you could do is you could, like you said, talk to your doctor, because sometimes we find that there might be some hormonal issues that are causing the acne. Sometimes it's linked to certain conditions that actually need to be treated, or it might be something that if you actually change your diet, you can actually control that better, because that will also affect your hormone levels. So you want to, if it's something that's happening very often, you want to attack it at the root. So talk to your doctor about that so they can do some testing.
All right. This has been so informative and so great. Have you guys been so informed today? I'm so grateful. I wasn't expecting this much information. I'm so grateful to the panelists, to the participants. You guys hung in there. So celebrate yourself, give yourself a hand clap for hanging in there again, hanging in there all the way through. We're about to do like 3 to 4 raffles right now. Yes, yes, yes. All right. So we've given away the book. We've given away the spa day. Nifi, tell us a little bit about what we're giving away so I don't mess it up. We're about to give away some Sweeter Juice skin products. So tell us about that.
Sure, thank you. So I have a sample here, not of everything that I listed I was going to give away, but so this is our Moringa Miracle facial oil cleanser and makeup remover. So like I mentioned, it's my first step in my double cleanse. And double cleanse is something that's been happening for centuries in many, many different cultures. And really what it's doing is like taking off your makeup or, you know, really truly getting down and, you know, cleansing your face before you go into your second cleanse. For your skin would be a gel cleanser or cream or whatever your skin type is for. Then I also added our East and West African shea butter set, which we have Nubian Gold, which is East African shea butter. And for people that have really dry skin, it's great for your skin because it's really, it's a great emollient that you're going to put in on damp skin. And then we also have our shea butter and neem dream cream, which is a West African shea butter. It's more whipped and it's for all skin types and really great for, it's not too oil based, so it just smooths right in. I always say, use it on damp skin. Shea butter is not a hydrator, you know, it's a emollient and an emulsifier. So it's capturing, keeping and locking in the moisture on your skin. So that's super important. So that is what we're giving away today. Thank you.
All right. So McKenna, who is the winner of this lovely set from Sweeter Juice Skin? Monique Branch. Woo-hoo! She also wanted to link to Nifi's products. See how God works? She actually wanted to link to your products. So you got a new customer. She's getting this raffle, and then she's going to become a permanent customer.
Yay, because I sure do have subscriptions. Hey.
So Monique, Nifi will send that to you. All right, congratulations. Okay, the next raffle, but I need to know if you're excited. I'm going to give out a journal. All right, if you want a journal, type me in the chat. You're going to get your own journal that comes with this lovely pen that has a crown on it for the crown, for the crown, for the prince and queen that you are. You're going to get your lovely journal planner 2-in-1 that comes in the box. And it makes a lovely I've had some people purchasing this for Christmas gifts for people. Hey, stop buying people like Starbucks cards and, you know, random things that they're not going to use, like Bath and Body Works. I have so many of those. Buy them something they can actually use that's going to help them to, you know, to practice self-care and journal and be a better person. I mean, this would be so lovely if someone gave me this. I wouldn't be expecting this. I'd be thinking I was getting perfume again or a gift card again. But if I open my gifts, I'm like, well, somebody really thought about me. Someone really thought about giving me something proactive. Oh my gosh. So this makes a lovely gift. So that's my little infomercial. So anyway, I'm going to give this out as a prize right now. So who, drum roll, please. I mean, there's not really drum roll, but I just said that. So who is winning this? Some people said me in the chat. Erica Reveron, is she with us today? Erica, let's get some applause for Erica. She's getting a journal. So get with McKenna. Let me get your address. I'm going to send that to you. And those, I know every single person wanted a journal. All right. Some of you guys already bought some. I know some of you guys like, man, I wish I won. Guess what? You can get your own. It's 15% off today. I'm taking the coupon code off tomorrow or the next day. I'll probably give you guys till Monday. All right. Summit 1028. Go to Bob. I think McKenna, drop that in the chat, the link. Click on it. It's also in your self-care toolkit. If you download that, if you can't get it right now, click on it, put the code in, and I'm taking the code off on Monday or so. Summit 1028. You will get 15% off. And if you're local and you don't want to pay for shipping, meet with me. Hey, Bacola's going on a spa day with me. She hasn't even bought a journal, putting her on the spot. So get your journal, Bacola, so that I can give it to you in person at our spa day. All right. We're going to give out another prize. Now, this prize is for a free 30-minute coaching session with me. If you're excited about that, type me in the chat, a free 30-minute. Now, let me tell you guys something, why you probably want this. You're probably like, what you got to coach me on? Let me tell you about it. By the grace of God, this is not about being boastful or anything like that. And this is you. This is how I want you to talk about yourself and talk to yourself. This is about celebrating yourself, okay? By the grace of God, I have 3 successful businesses that make a profit. Can somebody write profit in the chat? Profit. When you want to make a profit, you don't want to make a what do they call the other one? What is the opposite? I forgot. You want to make a profit in your business. So I do business coaching. I do resilience coaching. If you have a business idea, how many of you guys remember in 2019? Some of you guys went, some of you didn't. The Business Minded Woman was my very first event that we had live, and over 100 women showed up. And I actually coached a lady that is actually still my hairdresser at this moment. And she got my package, my Business Minded, she got my business startup pack in 9 weeks. And I'm going to have her do a formal testimonial. In 9 weeks, we met every Tuesday for 9 weeks. Her business went from zero, like not zero, but like whatever, 300% profit. We looked at how much are you charging for your services, your shampoo and your conditioner? She said, I charge about whatever. I said, how much does your shampoo cost you? How much is your conditioner? How much is your time? And then she never thought about all those. We looked at all those and we came up with new pricing structures. We elevated her website. We elevated her communications, her marketing strategy. We went on live, whatever. We did so much stuff and I worked with her intensely. Now, I don't work anymore with people intensely like that unless you pay the higher package. I have one client that I'm doing starting this Tuesday. She got one of my packages. We're doing 10 weeks and watch her business turn around in 10 weeks. Why do I know that? Because I know that because I got a God on my side. Her business will turn around in 10 weeks. She's a caterer. She's going to work with me. And thank God I used to be a caterer as well. We are going to revamp and rebrand her business so that she attracts higher paying clients. Now, if you have a business idea and you just need to get it off the ground, you want to book a coaching session with me, but I'm giving away a free 30-minute coaching session. Now, 30 minutes, not enough. So you're going to get the 30 minutes just to bounce some ideas, ask some questions, but I will be having some cohorts and things like that. And you want to join that masterclass because you might get some little tricks in there as well. But my coaching packages are on my website. For me to do private coaching, I do charge a lot more for me to do private coaching, but I do have group coaching sessions. And you can hire me to do a business checkup. Does anybody know what a business checkup is? I have the eye to be able to look at your business and tell you like in 15 minutes by looking at your website or your storefront or anything, what you need to change. I just have that gift. I walked into a lady's store one time and we talked about it and she implemented everything I told her and she saw a 1,000% increase in the next 2 weeks. I told her about her storefront, what her storefront looks like, what it's attracting, how she needs to arrange things, the way she greets customers. I just went in there for like 20 minutes and just watched her interact with customers. I watched her. As soon as I saw what the store looked like, I told her about that, how to rearrange things, how to stuff. And she took the advice and she saw a turnaround in her business. Now, I'm saying, when you say what you can, I'm saying this because I'm confident, because I've been a business person for a long time, that I can help your business grow. If you want to work with me, click on the website, click on the link, but I'm going to give a raffle out right now for 30 minutes of coaching McKenna, who wins that 30-minute session? Whoa, Feluke Ogu, I'm not even saying your Feluke, are you in the house?
Yes, I am.
What? Are you excited?
Yes, I am.
Okay, do you have a business?
No, but I have some thoughts.
Okay, we're gonna birth that business out of you. I love working with people with thoughts. All right, we are gonna birth you a business. All right, so Feluke is the winner of the 30-minute group, 30-minute private coaching session with me. And I'm also going to give away, now you guys are the first to hear this, so this is a secret, okay? Well, no, it's probably not a secret because I kind of said it in the survey. We are planning an awesome self-care retreat. There's 2 of them for high impact women. There's two retreats. One of them is going to be a 2-day workshop. One is going to be a workshop, work on your business, work everything, and then you get pampered all day. The second one, I'm taking 10 high impact women on a luxury retreat. We're going to have guest speakers, and it's going to be all about your self-care and coaching and everything. You are going to leave refreshed. I am giving away these are valued. The 2-day self-care summit in person. It's called Pampered on Purpose. And also, just to give you guys the reason you also want to coach with me, I know some people know this. I am very, very good at creating names. I have like 50,000 websites registered because when it comes to my mind, I register. I helped my friend Pearl create her name More Than Just a Day wedding planning. If you need a business idea and you're not really creative with names, get with me. My brain's like that. I can just give you a business name quick. What's your business going to be? What this is a name, get it marketable because you got to brand yourself. You have to market your name. Pampered on Purpose, live self-care retreat, 2-day summit. What first day is the workshop, second day, spa, foot massage, hand massage, facials, live music, brunch, everything, pampered, vendors. That's going to be happening. And I'm giving away a free ticket to that right now. If you want that free ticket, type me in the chat right now. If you want a free ticket to the Pampered on Purpose live, well, you got to come out here. Hopefully you're in Scottsdale, or it's going to be in Scottsdale, Arizona. But the luxury retreat, I can't give away a free ticket for that because it's that's different. You got to pay for that one. But if you want the free retreat, the free ticket to the 2-day retreat happening in Scottsdale, Arizona, type me in the chat. Well, we're going to pick a winner. Let's see if the me's resonate with it. McKenna, who is winning a free ticket to this 2-day self-care summit, not really a summit, Pampered on Purpose, indulge in yourself. By the way, like I said, some things are secret. I'm only telling you guys right now. I have a celebrity chef that is going to be preparing the meals. Okay, celebrity chef. I have so many good things to tell you guys about it. So I'm super excited about it. Free ticket goes out to Alyssa Collins. Is she in the house? What? Is she there? Alyssa, are you in Scottsdale? Because you're gonna have to buy your ticket.
No,
Doctor.
I'm here. I'm in Phoenix. Thank you.
Oh, Phoenix. That's it. All you got to do is drive. So Alyssa, it was meant to be. You're coming to the self-care Pampered on Purpose. You guys stay tuned in your emails for pre-registration. Tickets will sell fast. Buy your ticket on time. I have a VIP section. And you'll also get some coaching and some help there as well. But like I said, the 2-day summit will be coming up. That's in January, by the way, in case you're wondering. That's in January. And then the luxury one, I'm taking 10 high impact women. Why? You're always doing the most, right? Dr. Bailey, Dr. Hope, we're always doing the most. We need to get away. We're going on a luxury retreat, guys. Dr. P, you need this. We are going on a luxury retreat, 10 of us. All right. Everything's going to be taken care of. Celebrity chefs. You're going to be pampered. It's called Pampered on Purpose. You're going to be completely pampered from head to toe. There's going to be a celebrity photographer, celebrity chef. You're getting makeovers, You're getting your hair done. You are going to stay and wait till I show you the pictures of some of these retreats we're going on. All right. So it's still in the works, but you're going to go on that. So that one is an investment in you. It's going to cost a few $1,000s because you get all of those things included. You're going on a retreat. It'll be a 3-day retreat. You can stay the 4th day after you finish pampering yourself to work completely on your business. If you want to work on your business, but you can do 3 days to just pamper yourself and peace out, or you can stay the 4th day. And this would be an implementation day on the 4th day, where you would walk away with things done for your business. It'll be structured and everything like that. So that, stay tuned for those, but I'll take 10 women and I will do them every once in a while. But this first one, I'm taking 10 women. Now, here's the thing. The first 10 women, I'm giving it at a very discounted price. Not very, but because it is the first one. What is it too? Because you're the first 10 women, you will be on the website. You're going to have a photo shoot with the celebrity photographer, all the celebrity photographers to get the whole footage of this. All right, we're going to do the videos and everything like that. So if you want to be part of that first 10, send me a message because I'm planning that. I'll send you the pictures. We're planning that. We haven't really released it yet. That's 10 women that we're taking on this Pampered on Purpose to feel refreshed and renewed and rejuvenated and just recharged. And there's some husbands, this is for high impact women and stay-at-home moms. Why do I say stay-at-home moms? And any kind of woman anyways, for anybody, but that's really my target because I just know that they have a lot going on, they're burnt out. So women that stay at home, sometimes they're not staying at home because they want to stay at home. Sometimes they have husbands that make, they're high up there and they just stay at home. So I know their husbands would want to take them on a retreat, would want them to go for a retreat. So if you know anybody that falls into this category, keep them in mind as well. So we'll give you guys more information on that. So now we have given you guys all of the information. We're giving you the raffles. We're going to give one more ticket away and then we're done. Thank you so much. We had an optional session, but we're not having that. Dr. Hope has to go. Thank you so much, Dr. Hope. We love you. We appreciate you. We're off here in about 2 minutes. Last person, put it in the chat, McKenna, for the free ticket. Last person for the free ticket. Josephine William. Yes, is she in the house? Josephine, are you there? Got to be present to win, guys. All right, guys, we'll reach out to Josephine. It's been lovely. Thank you guys so much for this time. Thank you for spending your Saturday day with us from 10 to 2:14. So we really appreciate you. Have a wonderful week, planning your week. Keep putting together all the strategies that you learned today. And reach out to us if you need support. We love you so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Saturday. If you want to save the chat, save it. There's a way to save the chat if you need some information from there. And send us a message at info@aboveonlyleadership.com if you have any questions. Thank you guys so much and have a wonderful rest of your day. Don't forget the survey. Don't forget the survey. Bye, guys.